What an upset. I guess I'm not shocked. It was just very surprising how it wasn't a 50-50 fight. Man, Navarette does it again. Look, guys, everything you thought you knew about boxing, footwork, not overextending your punches, right? If you're coaching a boxer, your son, another person's kid, if you're a trainer, you don't teach them to box like Emmanuel Navarette, okay? You don't teach them to throw punches or fight like Emmanuel Navarette. Everything you thought you knew about boxing goes out the window when you see Emmanuel Navarette fight, train, everything. Doesn't look like a fighter. What's going on, Drew?
Hey, what's up, man? How's it
Look,
going?
man, I'm just gonna go on a little rampage right now, and then we'll get right into it. Everything
Yep.
you knew about Navarette or boxing, it's just surprising. Look, man, he probably understands it, and he wishes that he was like Marco Antonio Barrera, Canelo Alvarez, Eric Morales, Finito, Salvador Sanchez, Juan Manuel Marquez. He probably wished and grew up to those legends and was inspired by them, but he realized I can still be successful with my style. This guy is essentially reinventing the wheel of what we know about boxing. In terms of footwork, he doesn't really got it, right? But he rarely gets knocked down or he's out of position because of it. His hands are down. He lunges with his punches. He reaches. There's a saying, if you reach, I teach. Now with Navarette, he crisscrosses his feet, throws wild uppercuts. Then his feet they're all over the place. Then he redirects his whole body with a left hook and then a forward just to get back into regular position. The dude is flat out the most entertaining fighter that you can possibly see because you would think or anybody could beat this dude, right? Conventional wisdom of what we know about and grew up to know about boxing, Navarette is so flawed like no other man. See, it makes sense when Wilder is like 6'7", and all he's got is a great, amazing straight right hand, or the technique of Canelo Alvarez, or the speed and footwork and creativity of Naoya Inoue, or the precision, right, and long arms of Bud Crawford. These things make sense why they dominate the sport of how they do it. But then there's guys like Navarette that can beat the fuck out of conventional wisdom, traditional boxers like Oscar Valdez. See, Navarette isn't supposed to beat our U.S. Olympians like Ruben Villa, undefeated fighters like Ruben. He isn't supposed to beat Prince of, where the homeland of Dogbo, but he does, and he knocks them down, right? You would think Shakur would be able to do what Navarette does, but Navarette is an artist. He's the most polarizing fighter, not outside of the ring, inside of it. It's freaking hilarious and it's fun to watch. And again, he's not supposed to beat these fighters like Valdez, like Joet Gonzalez, Dogbo, Ruben Villa. He's not supposed to because those guys are what we grow up to know about boxing. And there's Navarette. Anyway, this guy's a 3-time divisional champion, legit champion. Okay. And he's doing it his own way. That's called an artist, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, on the panel, we got Warp, aka Speed. We got the homie Drew.
Yo.
And thank y'all for joining me. Look, man, Navarette, there was a lot of amazing fights from Richard Torres, a spectacular first round knockout, right? Emiliano Vargas. Just take it away. How was your guys this weekend, and what you guys think about this weekend's fights?
Yeah, man, they were good. Even like the lead up. I was watching the Waynes and stuff like that. I was watching like the Emiliano one, and I seen that dude, Jorge Luis Marquez Alvarado, El Bad Boy from Palau, Mexico. That dude was talking hella trash, and he was really getting under his skin. But Emiliano, you know, obviously inside the ring, he wasn't phased at all. The dude really showed like his class and all that. So I enjoyed watching that fight. Um, I didn't really get to watch the fights before that, as you know. ESPN, I believe, laid a big egg, so they they really killed it. Like I guess like no one really was really able to watch like the Sergio Rodriguez fight or the Antonio Mireles fight. Uh, those weren't really being televised, but I think they started right on the I think they started right after the Emiliano fight, televising that fight. They started televising with the Richard Torres fight, so that's where we started off. But I don't think when I got to your house, I don't think it started. I think that one just ended when I got to Ricardo's house. But yeah, man, they were pretty good fights. But before that, I was actually watching the Showtime fights really quick. Noticed that Gary Antoine Russell got the KO, first round KO. Dude's got like seven first round knockouts, bro. And dude's got actually he's on a eight uh, knockout streak and a seven first round knockout streak, bro. So dude's on the fucking roll. Um, 16-0, 16 knockouts. Yeah, that dude pretty looks pretty promising. Um, but yeah, and then I actually got to your house, started watching the top ring fights, and then actually Lindolfo Delgado versus Jair Valdiera. That one was a good fight as well. Um, I was expecting Lindolfo to actually get the knockout, but I guess his opponent's pretty solid, man. That dude Jair Valdiera is actually a pretty solid opponent, bro. Coming from a 135 pound division, he was much smaller than Lindolfo, but dude actually held his ground. I enjoyed watching him fight. Um, yeah, he's pretty good. And then after that, I believe that was a co-main. I believe that was a co-main, and then it was a Oscar Valdez and Emmanuel Navarette fight. That one was really good. I mean, it lived up to its potential. I want to see it again, but I was thinking about it. Uh, I need Oscar Valdez to have like a couple more tune-up fights. Maybe they'll fight down the road. You know, make that a little. I see that as a little trilogy, maybe if they do well enough in their careers. Emmanuel Navarette was showing his class though, man. Honestly, he was really just imposing his will on this dude, showing no like mercy, bro. Dude had no technique, just coming at him, bro. Just it was crazy to watch, man. Just fundamentally incorrect in all sorts of ways, bro. It was crazy to watch. Um, I would like to kind of step in the ring, honestly, like to kind of see what the trouble is, like because it looks like it's easy to stop this dude. I don't know why no one can stop him. Um, Dude's like really random with his array of punches, so makes it tricky to actually predict this dude. But yeah, I enjoyed watching him, man. He's he's one of the greats. I asked you last night. I was like, is he a Hall of Famer? Because I'm questioning it. I'm like, is he? And I think he is, man. I think he's like he's cementing that legacy. Eventually he will, but I mean, the more he keeps going, the easier it is to call him a Hall of Famer. Dude's actually easily top 10, pound for pound in my book. Uh, yeah, he's a real deal, man. Reason why he's beating top amateurs. Like when they were amateurs, or he's beating these top dudes that were like ranked in the world, bro. So like, he's taking people's O's. He's he's something else, man. I really enjoy watching him fight. I had told you I wanted him to fight Inoue. I'm really curious to see about that. I know that.
Wait. You want to watch Naoya fight Emmanuel?
Yeah,
Oh
I
shit.
want I want to watch that. I just want to see what the trouble is about Navarrete. I want to see if like what the fuck is up. Because this dude's unstoppable, bro. Like I'm like, bro, Oscar Valdez couldn't time him up. Like he couldn't
But
hurt
why
him
do you want to watch Naoya specifically? Not why like
because
Oshaki
be-
Foster or Cordina. Why Naoya?
because of his activity. He'll actually try to keep up with Navarrete, and he won't stop. He's relentless. Um, Especially if he's in trouble, he'll come like that's his motive, bro. And honestly, Oscar probably punches just as hard as fucking Inoue, bro. You know, Like that's what I'm thinking. But maybe Inoue's combination of punches are just gonna be too much for Navarette. Navarette. Navarette is the bigger man. That's the thing. He would be the bigger man. That's why I want to watch that fight. Um,
So let me ask you something,
yeah,
Drew. Do you think Navarette is winning these fights because he's the bigger, longer man, or because he's got the skills?
because he's the bigger, longer man, and he knows how to use his distance, and he's like predicting Oscar's punches like when they're coming. He's so fluid with it. He's not in a rush. He's just like he just fluidly like juking or like distancing himself from this dude's punches, bro. And he's doing this at a slow, like really slow. He's not, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not urgent, you know. And for Inoue, you need to be urgent, you know. And I just want to see how the mentalities collide, you know, because Navarrete don't stop, man. He does not stop. But that's I'm saying that down the line because Inoue has still has two divisions to go, I believe, you know, and he still needs to go through the 126 division.
So, question for
Right.
you: why is
Right.
it everybody like they want to see Naoya fight all these guys that are much bigger in weight classes, like 2, 3 weight classes, for instance? Everyone wants to, for some reason, oh, Naoya versus Tank. You're saying Naoya versus Emmanuel Navarette. Other
Mhm.
fighters are like, oh, Brandon Figueroa, he wants to fight Naoya. What is with, I guess, the boxing sphere that they just
Because,
want to see like their favorite fighter or these certain fighters fight Naoya? Is Naoya now the standard? Like,
dude,
like look at
yeah, I
the
mean, well,
Tank.
this is the thing. This is the thing. Inoue is his stock is rising at a fast pace, right? Navarrete is too, right? But that's the thing. That's the biggest stock that's going up at a fast pace besides Tank. You know, in between Inoue and Tank, that's the guy in the middle of them. I feel like that's the pillar. That's a pillar right there in boxing. And in order for him to move up, I feel like there's a lot of question about that fight if it happens or not. And if it doesn't happen, I'd be like, honestly, I don't know. Maybe this guy would have stopped him. You know, so it's one of those things where I need that question answered first before this dude gets through Tank. Because honestly, this dude would give Tank problems too. But I want to see how good he takes the punch. You probably get knocked out, but I wanted to see Navarrete and Tank. But now it's like Tank is looking like he wants to fight more like, the bigger names. He's going for the bigger bag, but Navarrete is starting to be the bigger bag for Tank now, in a sense. But actually, that was promotionally, like that's across the street. That can't happen, right?
Wait, say that again.
That they're across the street, promotional wise. Like they're one fight's on Showtime, the other one fights on Top Rank. So I believe that's not doable in a sense, right?
I mean, anything is doable, money, if the money makes sense, money brings out everybody. But but here's the thing, bro. It's like
Mm.
when I look at Tank, I'm like, bro, if you're calling out, or even if you entertain the idea of fighting Naoya anyway, you're a fucking scumbag. If I'm like Tank's people, I'm like, bro, you're a little like you little bitch, bro.
Yeah.
Go fight Shakur. Go fight Lomachenko. You got Devin Haney problems. Hell, you got George
Mhm.
Kambosos problems because you said, man, I'll fight. Fuck the belt. I'll go fight George Kambosos. So they go fucking fight him. He looked like
Yeah.
shit against Maxie Hughes, so he clearly doesn't know how to box a southpaw. Go
Mhm.
fuck him up and go knock him out and be like,
Mhm.
Kyo couldn't knock him out. Devin
Yep.
Haney couldn't knock him out. I knocked him out. So when people bring up Tank versus Naoya anyway, it disgusts me, bro. You know what I'm saying? Even like
Yeah.
Jermell Charlo versus Canelo, that's a great fight,
Mhm.
by the way, but it disgusts me. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, go Jermell, go fight Tim Tszyu.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Canelo,
because
go fight David Benavidez.
uh,
I'm
I.
grateful for these boxing matches because it's like a fantasy, like, oh man,
Mhm.
he's moving up. But it really
Mhm.
disgusts me because again, wherever weight class you are, like just dominate it. It's okay. You don't have to, move up and play this pound for pound game. Like
Mhm.
do it like I don't want cash grabs. You know what I'm saying? Even with Navarette, I'm like, that looks like a good fight in the future if both of these fighters are still champions and Naoya is moving up. But I'm like, nah, bro. I want to see Joe Cordina. I want to see Oshaki Foster go unify with Hector Luis Garcia, who gave Tank Davis a good fight. I don't want you to move up and just be food for Tank Davis or be food for Canelo. Like, nah, bro.
Right.
I want to
There's
see, what we would perceive 50-50 matchups in their respective weight classes. That's what interests me. Hey, yo, Speed, are you there, bro? You have not even introduced yourself one time.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Speed.
Yeah, no, I'm right here. I'm right here. Thank you for the invite. I'm right here. No, interesting direction that you guys are taking this conversation. That's why I'm not interjecting. I like what I'm hearing. I'm definitely gonna address every single thing that both you, the homie Ricky, and Drew are bringing up. No need to ask of my opinion at the moment. You guys are in the row, and I want to hear out everything you guys have to say regarding these maneuvers in the sport because uh, I like it. So just to carry on. I'll be right here.
For sure, man. Appreciate it. But
Yep.
yeah, I just want guys to just continue to fight and be active. I
Yeah.
don't want long, lengthy negotiations. Oh, what weight class, what catch weight, what belts on their line. Like, no, bro. Tank's got people to fight at his weight class. And I don't want to entertain or have the dialogue of no Oyo versus Tank. No. Naoya has a fight, Marlon Tapales, at the end of the year. Then he can probably fight MJ Akhmadaliev, who, in my opinion, is the only threat
Mm-hmm.
and Marlon Tapales, because he gave MJ Akhmadaliev a good fight at 123. And then
Mm-hmm.
like just carry on within those guys, Navarette, go fight Joe Cordina, unify with him. That's a badass fucking
Yeah.
fight. Joe Cordina is a scrappy dude,
Mm-hmm.
athletic, strong. He's got the size on him in terms of height. That's what I
Yep.
want to see. And then like stop fluctuating in weight, continue to dominate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do understand Jermel's because he's fought all the dudes at 154. But let me go to this point on Jermel.
Mm.
And I hope I'm not deviating, so I'll try to keep it short. He
Mm.
didn't really fight all the best dudes at 154. He fought the best dudes that remained at 154. Because mind you, he didn't fight Erislandy Lara. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
fight Jarrett Hurd. He didn't fight Jaime Munguia. He didn't
Mm-hmm.
fight Liam Smith. He didn't fight Canelo Alvarez. He didn't
Yep.
fight Dimitri Andrade.
He
Those
camped
were
out.
6 undefeated guys or 6 dudes that fought in his weight class. And he didn't fight them dudes. He
Yep.
did fight Banana, who beat J-Rock.
Who's that?
Banana, Jason Rosario.
Oh,
Who
okay.
beat
Yep. Yep.
J-Rock. J-Rock who beat Jarrett Hurd. But you
Okay.
didn't fight those 6 guys that I just mentioned. And those were the dudes. Now, at the time, you were in the same stable camp of, your older brother, Jamal, and at Ronnie Shields' training gym, and Erislandy Lara. So you played that little game, and then once Lara moved out, he no longer my friend. I'll fucking fight the dude. But he didn't fight those 6 guys. Now, you want to say, like, oh, the money wasn't right for Canelo or Andrade or all these situations. It doesn't matter. He didn't fight the best dude. You just fought the dudes that remained last, which is not his fault. But now that there is a guy that we want you to fight, and Tim Tszyu, you decided to move up 2 fucking weight classes, unbeknownst to any man that ever called for that fucking fight. Especially now, they called it years ago when Canelo was at 154. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yep.
it's not a good fight. I'm just saying, like, I want to see Benavidez versus Canelo, or not
Yeah.
David Morrell because he's 9-0, but essentially David Benavidez. And once you knock that dude out, like, you can go fight all your fantasy matchups that you want, Canelo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like when boxing is in order. That's kind of like what I'm saying. That like what Jermel did. He pretty much camped out and he pretty much seen who's like a tough opponent in his division, and he swept it up pretty well. I kind of like what Crawford did. He stayed at 147 for a while, and actually grew into the weight class and actually dominated the whole division. Honestly, I want Inoue to do the same thing. I want him to do it. Take his time a little. I see what you're saying. I want him to take his time too. Um, I'm talking about the Tank fight for like, man, later on. I'm just hoping Tank is still able to have some motivation to fight. Hopefully, he doesn't lose by then or something. Because I want everything. I want the stars. The stars have to align. I don't want that to happen. It's not gonna happen anytime soon, but I like it as a possibility. I'd like to see in a way how he carries the weight. 126. He still has to go through that division. Like you said, he's about to unify, correct? He's about to unify with the with that Manny Pacquiao fighter.
Yeah,
Again,
Marlon Tapales. I mean, Naoya is
yeah,
already unified, but he's looking to become now undisputed.
right, right. Undisputed with that fight. So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yep. I want him to. Yeah, I want. There's a lot of unanswered questions. What if he has a tough time with Cordina? Because Cordina would be a great fight. I want to see that one as well. That one would be at 126, correct?
Nah. That's all 130.
Wow. So you want
They
him to
got
go
some
all the
good
way to
fights there.
130? So
Mhm.
130 already. Who would you want him to fight at 126 then?
Who?
In a way.
I'm not even thinking about Inoue right now. I'm like, I
Hmm.
already know he's got Marlon Tapales later on, hopefully this year.
Right.
And then whatever career choice that he wants to do, whether he wants to skip completely 126 and go to
Hmm.
130 or dominate 126 as well and beat
Hmm.
Robeisy Ramirez and El Venado and Lee Wood and all those guys, I'm all for
Yeah.
it. But right now, I don't want to think too far ahead like that.
Right. Yeah, I know. That's why I would just want to see how he grows into the weight. I just want to continue to see this guy at this weight. And that's what I'm saying. Navarette is like a little more sooner than Tank would be, and they both fight at top rank. You know. Uh, yeah, I would like to see that fight. That one's a little more realistic, but yeah, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
Question for you. We know
yes.
that Top Rank has the perfect formula for building a career and maximizing, right, the productivity of their fighters. Like they have the
Mm,
best matchmakers in the game, let alone the best promotional uh backing. Like Top Rank, they understand narrative, they understand how to select fighters, they understand how to build careers, right? If you look
mhm,
at all the fighters, they've all started with Top Rank and then they eventually branched off and left, right? Oscar De La Hoya, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Top Rank, Andre Ward. They've had all these guys at one time.
mhm,
They've been with HBO. They've been with, now ESPN. They have the best understanding of the sport. Is Navarette, because if you look at Navarette, for the majority of the time, he's the bigger and longer ranger fighters in every fight that he has. He's taller than every single
mhm,
one of them, except Leon Wilson. I say
mhm.
all this because I want to ask, is Navarette a top rank fabricated machine in terms of, oh, we're gonna have you fight Dogbo, who's 5'4", Valdez, who's 5'5". Like you told me earlier about 10, 15 minutes ago,
Mhm.
he's only winning these fights because I asked you. Is he winning because he's got longer, he's taller and rangier? Or is it because
Mhm.
he's got the skills? And you were like, oh, because he's a bigger dude. So
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
think he's
yeah,
a fabricated machine? Like Top Rank's
yeah.
building this motherfucker based on
There,
fighting shorter dudes.
there. That was just the best matchup that they could have gotten him was with Oscar Valdez, because he's relentless. He's a mini Canelo. Honestly, the way he punches, throws those hooks to the body, uh, he really just fucking torques that shit, bro. Uh, what was I saying? Yeah, man, that was a perfect matchup because he was 5'5". Navarrete was 5'7". He's always like that in that position, and he only has trouble with the taller man, not the taller man, but as tall as him at least, because there were Wilson's at 5'7" as well, I believe. So they were like about the same height, and that gave him trouble. So yeah, man, Top Rank is doing a really good job matching this dude up. Um, there is 5'7", 130 pounders though. Like I just
Oh
gotta
yeah,
look
for
for one,
sure.
but
I think
but
Cordina, Shaki Foster, they're all 5'7".
oof. See, I would
You know?
love to see that one too. Oshaki Foster.
Yeah.
Now he can, he would actually beat him to the punch. I think he would actually outbox Navarrete.
So as
Uh,
of right now, Oshaki has a fight that just got picked up by Matchroom and the
mhm,
Zone. So he's pretty much off the table for this year. Now he could unify versus Joe Cordina, but that's crossing over Top Rank in the Zone. Joe Cordina is a Matchroom fighter. And
mhm,
then there's the other fighter, Hector Luis Garcia, right? Who I
yeah.
believe is still a champion for the WBA at 130. And he
Oof.
last fought Tank, but that's also crossing over to PBC.
Right.
So it's going to be very difficult to unify at 130. especially if they don't want these promotional companies and networks don't want to play ball with one another and give us a unification. So there's always going to be that turbulence there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I was gonna say Francisco Vargas, but again, he's PBC.
Francisco Vargas, who's that?
The dude that fought Oshaki Foster, remember? He beat him.
Oh, that's Ray Vargas.
Ray Vargas, my bad.
Yeah,
my
that's
bad.
Ray Vargas.
Who's
I mean,
Francisco Vargas?
that would be an okay fight, but Ray Vargas didn't look to be a 130 fighter. He looked tall for it, but he didn't look like he punched hard or his power didn't carry. Now, mind you, he's not really a big, powerful puncher, but he just looked like, oh man, Oshaki's a hard hitter. I mean, he was getting his head snapped all the time, with a simple jab, and he couldn't really build any momentum off of it. Now, is Emmanuel Navarette? Is Emmanuel Navarette much more dominant than Shakur Stevenson? And is he the second best Mexican fighter that Mexico has to offer? Yo, Speed, just a heads up, we have a lot of wind going up onto your mic. I don't know if you're breathing heavily or if it's on the car or something, but yeah, it sounds a lot of like distortion.
Oh yeah, hot and heavy, bro. No, I'm at a park throwing the ball to my kids. They're to baseball, so yeah, you probably have a little bit of a breeze. I'm gonna see if I can go to a little place with less turbulent sounds. But yeah. Oh, let me find a spot.
Hey, Germ's audio is always messed up, man.
Yeah. Nah, you're good, bro. You can just continue to keep playing with your ball. But
what was it saying?
No worries, man. Yeah. So, what do you think about those two questions that I
posed? Oh, and Francisco Vargas, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, that's the guy who made Pitbull Cruz who he is. I think he retired, Francisco Vargas. If I'm not mistaken, that's how Pitbull Cruz he took that man out the game. But
yeah. But you were saying if Naverette is more dominant than Shakur, dude? Honestly, I think so, man. I think he's proven that. I think he's dominant, bro. Like just the way he's finishing dudes off, the way he's coming back from fights. It's gonna be hard to beat this guy, dude. Honestly, I think this guy beats fucking Shakur. I think Naverette can beat Shakur. Like if that fight were to happen, which is highly unlikely, right? This dude ain't moving up to 135.
He could.
He could.
And they're both with top rank.
Right. Man, I would put my money on Emmanuel, bro. I'd put a solid $100 on Naverette, bro.
So check this out. So yeah, I would say that because we only have two fighters that Shakur and Navarette have in common, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oscar Valdez and Shakur outboxed him. I think maybe Valdez won 2 rounds, and then Shakur pretty much did everything. He beat him from the outside distance. He didn't really get touched, if anything at all.
Dominated boxing-wise.
Navarette, didn't really get touched by Valdez either, but he fucking obliterated half of his face.
He did take
1,000 punches, etc. Much more dominant. So they have that in common, that you guys can if he did this to this, you can play games like that and matchmaker and scenarios. They also fought Joet Gonzalez. They both have that in common. Shakur fought him and Navarette fought him at 126. Joet gave Navarette a really good fight. He also gave Shakur a really good fight, but Shakur was much more dominant. And they had really animosity because Shakur was dating Joet Gonzalez's sister. They didn't really like him. Joet didn't like him. His family didn't like him. They were calling Shakur all these fucking names. And so there was that similarity that you guys can go pinpoint in history and go watch on YouTube on your own time. So
that's funny.
Well, check this out. Ruben Villa fought Navarette professionally, and he also fought Shakur in the amateurs. They fought quite a few times. In fact, to my knowledge, they probably fought each other 4 times. Ruben Villa beat him twice, and then Shakur beat him twice, but in the more pivotal, momentous moments. Like he beat him when it matters the most to qualify and represent Team USA in the Olympic qualifiers, and then he went on to beat win silver and all these things. And I think Ruben probably was an alternate during that situation. Now, if you look at that fight, and there's a YouTube video that you can watch, Shakur Stevenson versus Ruben Villa.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, Shakur is just a kid here. He might be 17 or 18, but all he does is just out jab Ruben, right? He just outpoints him. Navarette made Ruben run around him the whole fight.
Yeah.
After he dropped him twice, Ruben went on survival mode.
Yep.
If Shakur, the reason I bring all this is if Shakur were to fight Ruben Villa, I would say Shakur wins and beats Ruben, but only by outboxing him.
Yeah.
I don't think he knocks him down, let alone knocks him out or knocks him down twice.
Ruben has a chance, though. He has experience with
That's what
Shakur.
I'm saying.
Ruben has experience with Shakur in the ring, bro, like multiple times. So I'm pretty sure he knows some of his habits, even though Shakur has like grown a lot into his weight. There's some habits that you keep forever, and I feel like Ruben knows those.
Yeah, for
habits,
sure. Familiarity.
You know?
Look at Navarette, right? And you look at Shakur. One's a boxer, right? Shakur. He's not looking to engage in a firefight. He don't want a Mexican showdown. He don't have to. Now, does he have that in his backpack? And like, if he needs to pull out his bag of tricks, does he know how to fight on the inside? Yeah, of course he does.
Yeah.
But he don't want to. He thinks, safety first. Now, Navarrette's a fucking fighter. So there's a different mentality, a different aspect of fighting that one guy really, like, if you're going to talk shit to Navarette, he's like, all right, then motherfucker, let's fucking fight. And let's see who's got the bigger balls. Shakur will talk his shit, but then he'd be like, ha, ha, tap, 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 and then just stick out his tongue. It's just like, bro, you talked all this shit, and then you just want to just tap me, right? For instance, when he fought Jeremiah Nakatalia, Shakur had a really hard time with him. And now you go look at Raymond Murataya, he knocked him out in 2 fucking rounds. So again, there's a different level of animosity. Like, it's just a different style, right? A culture clash, so to speak. A different mentality of fighter. You have a different fucking soldier up in there. One strategic, or more so in terms of setting up game plan traps and just boxing you like an Olympian, Shakur. And then there's a guy that just wants to own that spirit and take the fight out of you. That's Navarette. So it's a very contrast of styles. Everybody knows Shakur is much more skillful, but Navarette is a fucking fighter. Not only does he have a puncher's chance, he has a unique way to beat you.
Filled with experience too, bro.
Can Shakur tame him? Maybe. But that's the fight I would personally like to see, especially since Shakur doesn't have a fucking fight, or he just looking to fight anybody. We'll go cut down in weight and go fight the champion, because you're nobody at 135.
Not yet.
All the straps. You're begging for fights, which you're not getting. We don't want you to go fight that Japanese fighter that you fought. Go
or Cambosis.
130 and go fucking fight Navarette.
Yeah, make that money. That's your big money fight right there. Don't fight Cambosis and fight Navarette. Yeah, I like that, because Navarette gives him trouble, bro. He gives him trouble. Are they actually in the talks of that, actually, or just like that's not even being said right now or anything like that?
I don't know. Beggars can't be choosers, and Shakur right now needs to just fight, because Devin has a fight with Rodriguez, right? I don't know if Lomachenko is going to retire. Jermaine Ortiz is fighting on, Joel Gonzalez and Venaldo's undercard. Shakur just needs a fight. Now, there's Cambosis available, or he can cut down to 130 and go fight Joe Cordina, who he didn't want to unify with, and completely just, didn't even discuss it, but he did tweet about it. Him and Cordina would be a good ass fight. Or he can cut down at 130, go fight a champion in Navarette, and get that dude out of there. But again, there's a lot of variations, and that Shakur can just do for his career. But I don't know if he's got the balls to fight Navarette and cut down to 130.
Yeah, man. He's just really prideful, man. Like the fact that he didn't even try to weigh in against his bout against who did he fight? He didn't even try to weigh in.
He weighed in, but he was like 2-3 pounds overweight, and that was against Robson Conceição.
Yeah, I was like, no, but
he
I'm saying
didn't defend his belt one, bro.
He didn't even like give it effort, man. Like it's like he didn't even like respect the fucking game of boxing, bro. Like it's dangerous, bro. Like that's why there's weights. That's why you have to make a weight. It gets dangerous, And he didn't really respect that. He wanted to weigh in 2-3 pounds over. Like, come on, bro. You have an obligation to do, bro. Like you're supposed to weigh in just like your opponent. Like what kind of what kind of silver spoon fed are you, bro? Like, you can't be like, you can't be like that, man. That's a disrespect to boxing right there. But yeah, I don't see him cutting that weight. He's too prideful, man. He's too prideful. I just
Well, I mean, he might be too prideful to. Nah, I don't think he's too. If he has pride and he goes down, it's not an
he's
easy thing to do because
he's gonna make
Shakur is a
Navarette
pretty
move up.
big dude, bro. Shakur's pretty big. I mean, you saw when he fought Robson Conceição. You saw when he fought Oscar Valdez. I'm not gonna call him a weight bully because at the end of the day, he still made the weight for pretty much all of his fights, except the Conceição fight. But he's a pretty big dude, so I know it ain't going to be easy. But if you also tell me Navarette, he's not really a 130 pounder either. That boy looks like he's carrying a shit ton of water weight up in that
Yeah,
stomach. Like his
yeah.
arms aren't even defined. Like honestly, he could probably still make 120, 26 if he got paid handsomely enough to hire a nutritionist. You know what I mean?
I wonder if this dude pushes weight or anything like that.
Nah, bro, you saw how he fucking hits mitts, bro. Like,
So how is he? I wonder
yeah,
how he's gonna.
man.
Dude, Shakur better not make him move up, man. He's gonna make him even more fat at 135, bro.
But check this out. If Navarrete is smart, he don't move up because he'd be like, bro, you're nobody at 135.
You
You
don't even have
fought
a belt.
nobody. I am a champion at 130, and I just beat the same dude you beat, but I actually took the fight out of him.
Closed his eye. Closed his eye.
You see what I'm
Fucking-
saying? So there's a completely different mentality. Like, bro, I'm the dude at 130 right now, and I just
Yeah.
fucked up Valdez. It wasn't close. It was utterly. So here, let me go to this
It was a
point.
blowout.
Did Eddie Reynoso kind of like fuck up Oscar Valdez? Like, should he have stopped that fight or not?
He gave Oscar Valdez a lot of opportunity, and Oscar Valdez kept taking those opportunities and actually showed something like a glimpse. But it was just Navarrete's array of punches was just too much, bro. Like, I think he was giving Eddie Reynoso reasons to keep him in there, though. He kept landing big punches, but dude, Navarrete got that chin, man. He got that granite chin. He was taking those punches, and
That's what I'm saying.
he was taking them, and dude, he was torquing the shit out of those hooks, man. Like right to his fucking his temple, bro. And Navarrete's reaction was calm, cool, and collective. After I was like, wow, like this
Yeah.
dude. He and at first he wasn't. Remember, he wasn't landing flush with those hooks. He was having a hard time landing, like kind of flush, like down the pipe on those hooks, because he kept kind of moving out the way. But eventually, he got his timing. He got Navarrete's timing. Actually, did start to connect down the line. But dude, you seen his reaction, man? I was like, what? If this dude can take Oscar Valdez's punches, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he can take most of those guys' punch after that. It's more of a leverage thing. The reason why he gets knocked down is because of leverage. You know,
Do you think
Uh,
that Oscar Valdez should leave Eddie Reynoso? Like he did, is that all that he can learn under Eddie Reynoso?
no, this is the best version of Oscar, dude. This is the best version of Oscar. This is
Because he
if
had
this dude-
Manny Robles before.
yeah. I haven't seen his fights with Manny Robles, but I like what I see when he fights him. He gives himself the best opportunity. You know, maybe a new strength and conditioning coach. You know, I heard some fighters actually have two coaches. You know, I was telling you about Hergovich, and he switched his strength and conditioning to Pedro Diaz, and then he stayed with Ronnie Shields as his technical coach. I think he needs to do something like that. He needs to get a better strength and conditioning to fucking strengthen those hooks, because everything he's doing is good, man. It's just Navarrete's reaction to those punches. They weren't phasing him. And I think if you were to put more oomph to those punches, bro, that's all it is. I mean, the answers were there. It's just you need more power to take this dude out, you know, and maybe doing something like that. That's what I would actually suggest if I was like in his corner, you know. But yeah.
So I do allow me to interject. First off, let me answer that question that you guys posed right at the beginning of the show, which is how was our day going? How was our weekend going? Well, thank you very, very much, the homie Ricky, for being considered and caring how another person's day is going. I hope your day is going well, and yours too, Drew. As far as my day, believe it or not, just barely started. Um, I, for the most part, spent the whole day working. I've been working on the 1970 Impala and just been patching it up, welding, spending the whole day in the nice, warm Central California sun. So when I work, that's that's just complete business, right? So that's not part of my day. My day starts when I'm having fun, and right now I'm having fun. And as soon as I stepped out over here, so I can listen to you guys and hop on the live, this is what I experienced. I experienced a man that was combing his scalp. He was he was combing his scalp, not his hair. He was bald, and for a second there, I thought maybe his hair was, the color of his skin, because he really was going at it, like really just combing into his head. But there was no hair because we were driving by. I brought my children over here to the park, and I we got pretty close to the guy, and yeah, he was there was no hair there to comb, so that was a little uh, trippy. Uh, and secondly, there was another strange thing that occurred, but I was like, if it's gonna be that kind of a day, this life is gonna be a good one. But anyways, look, you guys talked about a lot of very interesting things right here, including moving in Naoya Nui up to fight somebody like Manuel Navarrete, as if that was a proper consideration for a champion the caliber of Naoya. And I do not think that would be a proper move for the man, just off of the fact that there's so much work to do on 122 and then 126. But he should not skip 126 division for no reason. There's just too much smoke, too much talent, too many promotions involved there that would allow somebody that doesn't really have any kind of affiliation to one particular network or promoter besides to say Top Rank here in the US, for somebody like Naoya Inoue to move to Matchroom, do some work there, move to the PBC, and also get some work there at Top Rank. There's too many good competitors at 126. 130, I understand why Drew would bring that up as a dream match, and the reason for that is because Emmanuel El Vaquero Navarrete looked dominant. He looked as dominant, even with his drunken master style, as Crawford did just a couple of weeks ago against Errol Spence. And I don't know what's going on, what's in the air right now, but we see matches that are theoretically 50-50 all of a sudden become 80-20 or 100-0 when they actually get in the ring. And that fight yesterday was an incredible performance, probably the best one of Emmanuel Navarrete against one of the highest gritty, experienced, and well promoted fighters in Oscar Valdez. I thought that was incredible. I could not imagine that it would be that convincing and destructive of defeat for Oscar Valdez at the hands of Navarrete, but that's what we just saw. And I do understand the mentality behind the way that Drew is thinking, which is bring one of the greatest fighters that we just experienced to fight equivalently another one of what seems to be one of the greatest fighters in current ages, except he's not getting the credit because of his unorthodox lack of technical skill set. And but it's not that he doesn't have a skill set. It's not that he's not technical. In fact, what was the fault in the guy? He used a lot of great stuff. He used some long arm. He used some jabs to open up, very limited, of course. Incredible footwork in the sense that he really wasn't out of balance, considering the way that he hops into position, throws his punches and everything. He's somehow always able to land flat, flush, pivot, and turn around and still throw a punch. So this man is just somebody that nobody wants to give credit to because it doesn't look pretty, or that's not what you're supposed to do to set up a punch, or how come you don't set up a punch? But we just experienced a three division champion beat Oscar Valdez, who is one of the fighters with the most heart out there in the sport. And we just witnessed that because he got destroyed and his eye socket was busted out and his eye was shut and his cheeks were sunken and bloody, and he didn't quit. And in fact, Eddie Reynoso never even thought about stopping that fight. Why? Because he knows the kind of heart and the kind of warrior that Oscar Valdez is. He's been through the grinder and he's overcome. We don't stop a fight on a fighter like that, regardless of the appearance of apparent defeat. Because there's always a dog in that man, and that dog has always overcome, except for one time, which was at the hands of Shakur Stevens. So I think if I was Eddie Reynoso and that was not Oscar Valdez, and it was a younger, less experienced fighter, of course I would have stopped it, maybe as early as the eighth, but not on the champion like Oscar Valdez. Great great representation of himself as by a way of heart and determination and the occasional ability to move out of harm's way and counter, and most of all the hope, the optimism and the hope that he displayed that he could somehow end his foe in one punch. That's the only thing that kept him up there, the possibility of the puncher's chance. It didn't work for him this time, and I do agree that he should take a tune-up fighter too, because that was quite destructive, and we do need to have a competitive Oscar Valdez. But now we just saw a guy that just had two losses. He just took two losses in a row, if I'm not mistaken, Oscar Valdez. And Emmanuel Navarette, he looked great considering that he may have lost the other one. If everything was fair and people counted to 10, he would have lost at the hands of Liam Smith.
Walsh.
Yeah, there you go. Wilson and Walsh. Nobody knows. But incredible.
And shout out to Top Rank, bro.
Fight losing streak. He beat Blue Nose Lopez 2-3 months ago, and then he lost last night. And it was Liam Wilson is the guy that probably should have gotten a win over Navarette.
I keep saying Walsh, but yeah,
and I keep saying Smith.
Now, shout out to Top Rank though for promoting fucking the Antonio Barrera, Eric Morales. Look, you know, like they brought him every event, you know, and I thought that was cool. They really like lived up to that expectation too. So hopefully, like you know, I want to see it again. Yeah, man, it was cool that they brought it out. It kind of made me like 10 times more hyped, bro, since they brought them out and shit. So it was really cool. And then I found out that they're media partners. I thought that was hilarious right there, especially with their feud that they used to have and stuff. You know, I was looking at the way they used to like go at each other back in the day. So that was
absolutely. The thing is, Barrera and Eric Morales, they created that moment. They created, so to speak, their own luck. Because Top Rank, they don't really bring out old fighters like that. The thing is, Eric Morales and Barrera a couple years ago decided to open up a YouTube channel, and they had that rivalry. They squashed the beef in the thing they used to make. They talked about that turbulence, that animosity, that towards one each other. They buried that and set the differences aside, and they became basically, constituents, business partners. So they've been building up and interviewing a shit ton of Mexican trainers and fighters and creating a platform. So Top Rank, they did team up with them, but it's not like thank you Top Rank, like fuck Top Rank. I feel like they're kind of using them to build up Navarette and Valdez to be that next hero, you know. So it's just like they're riding their wave, but it's all good though. It's all love. I'm not gonna shit on it.
It didn't live up. It wasn't like that type of fight though. That fight was back and forth, right? And then this fight was really just one-sided, you know, in my opinion. But it was still good because, you know, Oscar showed us some shit, showed us some heart, you know. So I really appreciated Oscar Valdez for that because he's a fucking true a true warrior.
Should he go down to 126 rather than 130?
That's a good idea, dude.
Because he
Yep.
looks. This is his, I think, fourth or fifth fight at 130, and
I
every
can.
single fight he
Mhm.
looks small, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think he puts a
Very
lot of
small.
people
I'm
to
not
sleep,
just
bro.
talking about height and arm. Like, he looks well. Like he's got good biceps. He's cut up,
Mhm.
but and I'm sure it's a fucking pain to cut down to 126, especially
Yeah.
now at
Yeah.
the age that he is. But I just feel like, man, bro, these 130 cats, they almost look like fucking welterweights when they get sized up with you. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, allow me to try it out experiment. Look, okay, I'm gonna say something. I'm not I'm technically hopping out of the live, but I'm logged on. I'm just gonna open up another window. You let me know if you can hear me. Okay, I'm doing that right now. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Right now. Yeah.
Okay, you could hear me. Okay, so we've been contemplating what possible maneuvers uh, there are for fights for Emmanuel Navarette, Oscar Valdez, and Shakur Stevens. But I do not think Shakur Stevens is coming down in weight to fight at 130. I do not think Emmanuel Navarette is in any position to go up in weight to 135 at the moment. There's too much smoke. And he's barely been introduced to that weight. But here's the thing: both of those fighters have hopped on to other divisions of weights quite quickly in a short period of time, both of them. And in the case of Emmanuel Navarrete, I think it would be lack of nutritionist aid and perhaps.
Yeah. I can't hear you, man. But not. I know Navarette
Oh,
had
yo,
had.
Steve, yo, you cut off completely, bro.
Oh, okay, yeah. So then,
Yeah.
so that was the whole experiment. You cannot hop out of the live without it affecting your output. But what I was saying that is that both of these fighters, Shakur Stevenson and Emmanuel Navarrete, have climbed up in divisions quite quickly, and for two different reasons, right? One, it seems like Shakur Stevens just has physical attributes that make it hard for him to maintain a low weight, and he's probably a bit casual about whether he stays at any division or not. Because, for example, when he didn't make 130 to fight Robson Conceição and he blew the weight by like 2.7 pounds, he knew that Top Rank was on his side, and he didn't care. And he must have known that Robson Conceição would not have forfeited on the fight, because that was going to be his biggest payday and his greatest opportunity to become a champion off of notable name. So he calculated the situation. He decided to come in heavier. He did not try to lose the weight even in the time given. And to tell you the truth, nobody was going to lose 3 pounds in an hour or so. And still be competitive, even if he could. So he decided to just say, okay, I'm going to play the weight bully. And that is technically what you call a weight bully: a person that puts his name on a paper, who does not abide by that contract, and word is bond. So he is a man that doesn't care about his word. He's a person that will put his John Hancock on a piece of paper and not care if he comes through or not. See, the thing is this: when you make weight, when you promise an opponent and a promotion anything for a fight, that you're going to make weight and you put your John Hancock on a piece of paper, there are consequences for not coming through. And one of those consequences is that your opponent could walk away from the fight, because it's not easy. It's not easy to make weight, right? It's not easy to make weight. It's just a lot of sacrifice. So you're making your opponent come down to that weight, suck down to it, exercise, and go through the hardships of making that weight, staying there, dehydrating yourself, and then still be competitive. And you're being quite lax about the whole situation and said, I don't really care. I'm gonna take it easy, which means he's more relaxed, he's more at ease, he's better hydrated, so he's in a less insufferable position than his foe is. That's quite advantageous. That is quite advantageous. So that is what you call a weight bully. and he's not going to come back down to 130 for Emmanuel Navarette. Now, Emmanuel Navarette, again, has no reason to go up to 135 because there's a lot of smoke. Oscar Valdez should consider going down to 126. And I believe he can still make that weight even at this age. I think he's in his early 30s. And he would still get a lot of work there.
Question. Who would you like to see him fight at 126?
Anybody. First off, Ruben Villa, if he beats somebody like Oscar Valdez, he becomes a notable name overnight. And we know that fight would be possible because they're both on the same side of the street. So that'd be one. Everybody else, it'd be just a little more complicated because now you're talking about cross promotion events, and these guys ain't that kind of fighter. They don't generate that kind of money.
They're all with Top Rank.
Yeah. But I'm saying like the other 126 pounders, not all of them are at Top Rank, you see. But with somebody like Ruben Villa, who's somebody that obviously Top Rank wants to make a star, they can make that happen.
What about a Robeisy Ramirez?
Has all the cats at 126. They got Ruben, they got Robeisy Ramirez, Ronaldo Lopez, Joey Gonzalez. They got all the cats. The only thing that they don't have is, I think the WBC have. I think that's Brandon Figueroa. But I mean,
who would you like to see him fight at 126?
Who, Valdez?
Yeah.
Man, Ruben Villa, that'd be a good fight. Look, man, with Valdez, I think based on what I've seen, especially if he hangs around 130, he's gonna be food for all those dudes. I thought Robson Conceição beat him. Navarette just beat him. Shakur beat him. Blue Nose Lopez was giving him a hard time. So I don't know if Valdez wants to cut down to 126, and I don't think he can dominate at 130. I mean, bro, fight Joe Cordina at 130, Oshaki Foster. All these dudes beat Valdez. Valdez is on the decline. Now, here's the thing. If Errol Spence, who's been a welterweight since an amateur, bro, since 15 years old, now he's 32. If he can be at one weight class for 17 years, so can all these other fighters.
Yeah.
And we all know Valdez can cut down a weight, right? If you really wanted to, right? Because we just saw Errol Spence do the same thing for 17 fucking years. Like he could have been at 154, even at 160, he can fill out. I mean, we know that Errol don't live that fighter lifestyle.
Yeah, sometimes
he balloons up in weight. I mean, he eats good.
Yeah.
Sometimes for him to make that sacrifice to 147, of course, it takes a toll. Of course, he's going to feel weak, but that's the discipline if you really want to succeed. Because again, if you were to move up to 168, probably his walking around weight or even much more, he would be food. So he understands that. And 147 is my thing. Same thing about that, bro. 130 ain't his weight class. Now you might be, and I don't even know who he'd be to become a champion at that weight class. And it's not like Valdez don't ever get hit. He always been getting hit. Bro, he got his jaw broken by Scott Quigg. And Scott Quigg is, he's a tough fighter. He's got a nice high guard like Liam Smith, who fought Jaime Munguia, who gave Jaime Munguia a good fight. He went 10, 11 rounds with Canelo, but it was good 10 competitive rounds. So Canelo was just being, his ass.
Yeah. Hey, do you guys remember how long Shakur Stevens lasted at 130? Was it like 4 fights?
I don't know. I know that he fought Joey Gonzalez at 126, so he's probably been 4, maybe 5 fights at 130, but it was fast.
Yeah, it was very fast. So we're talking about a young fella with probably similar height and to, let's say, Errol Spence, only lasting 4 fights with some mediocre competitors to face, and then somehow decide to move up in weight. 4 fights in, when a guy could do it for 17 years, one guy can't do it for 4. These are just facts. These aren't opinions. They're in the box rec. In case erectile dysfunction guy EDG wants to look it up, He can look at it right there, and I can tell that somebody like erectile dysfunction guy
Bro, it's all
who's
good.
in the chat.
Don't even mind
Uh,
the movie, bro. He can't even listen to the whole video. He just sees the title and just be like, y'all Mexicans, y'all hating on
oh
them.
yeah, so that's the funny thing though. He's talking about being biased. Nobody mentioned any nationality. This guy right here, the first thing he talked about is blacks.
That's what I'm saying.
So we're talking this like erectile dysfunction guy. You got to get out of your emotions, bro. These are just facts. It has nothing to do with colors.
Dude, listen, we're not tripping about him. He says we don't know about boxing. Bro, we got.
Oh, I ain't tripping about the guy.
We spar pros. We do all this. We train amateurs, bro. So I don't even care about, bro. Just like I said, who care about that? Like he weird, emotional. Just keep going.
Well, he's erectually dysfunctional, so I ain't tripping on that guy. Anyway, so yeah, so look, Emmanuel Navarette, right? I wanted to talk about this. Is funny because I'm actually gonna say something that erectile dysfunction guy might actually approve of. On Friday night, the eve of Navarrete versus Valdez, we had a Toledo, Ohio fighter by the name of Albert Bell. Black guy, by the way. Hey, just in case. There's a black guy we're talking about. Positively.
Is, bro. Like, all he knows
okay.
Is her, bro. Like, who cares about him, bro? Just keep going, now.
The reason why I wanted to bring up Albert Bell is because this guy has a record of 24-0. He's previously fought for Top Rank. He's now hosting his own events under Vince Price, if I'm not mistaken, promoter, keeping it local. But he has fought before as he was coming up in the Top Rank stable. I believe they let him go because he was a very cautious fighter. He has 24 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws, 7 knockouts. So he has a 28% knockout rate. Now we know that Top Rank, you have to bring the excitement, right? We can't be here's the thing. This is the most interesting part. He's 6 feet tall, fighting at 130. Now you might ask yourself, why am I bringing him up? Well, because Top Rank has dealt with him before. The guy is undefeated. He is climbing up the ranks. He has beaten one undefeated fighter before a few years ago, in Andy Vences from San Jose, California. But otherwise, he was on the come up, and Friday he knocked it down, and then the corner decided to stop Filipino that he was fighting. Again, no notable names besides Andy Vences, and prior to that, the only other undefeated fighter he had was a guy that had zero losses, 0 wins, but 2 draws. Now, Albert Bell has a 73-inch arm reach, and he's 6 feet tall. He's 5 inches taller than Emmanuel Navarette and has 1 inch advantage over the guy. And the reason I bring Albert Bell, even though he hasn't done anything, is because he has the physical advantages and or equal to Emmanuel Navarette to make a fight a competitive fight. Because one thing that you must overcome when you fight somebody like Emmanuel Navarette is the physical dimensions, the incredible range that he has, the reach, the output. And this guy is technical. This black guy, I'm sure EDG is getting all hard on about it because I'm talking favorably about a black. But nonetheless, he's somebody that he's not shorter, he's taller, he makes weight, not like a weight bully like Shakur Stevens. He sticks to his word and he makes 130 off of sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears, staying in the gym. Not partying, not drinking his cognac or whatever else he's popping. He's in the gym, working out and making weight at 6 feet. Now, that guy has some advantages that it would make it hard for Emmanuel Navarette to overcome. So that's the reason why I wanted to bring up to your attention Albert Bell, because that is a fight that can be made on the cheap, and I'm sure that Emmanuel Navarette will still overcome, because you cannot throw 1,000 punches, like about 70% all power, and land it on your foe with that awkward style that he has that you cannot train for. You can be black, You can have all kinds of reach advantages, but you'll still not be able to fight a dude like that. I don't care if you're from Philly. I don't care if you're from Cleveland, Ohio. I don't care if you're from New York. I don't care what what wherever you're from. You can't train for a guy like that. So I think that's a very interesting fight for Emmanuel Navarette. Um, Obviously, there's other competitors at 130, and he could unify. But I just wanted to tell you out there that there is a very interesting possible opponent who just flew into the fight last night, so that he could talk to them afterwards. So you never know what's down the line, but that might be a credible opponent.
Yeah, bro. Albert Bell is good, bro. I'm watching him fight Andy Vences because Andy Vences, the cat from San Jose, he's reacting to his fight, which is pretty cool. It's good to see that pro fighters are reviewing their tape and letting people kind of like pick their brain how they go about processing the fight. But yeah, bro, Albert Bell has some good bro.
Erectile dysfunction guy. Nobody says Shakur is a bum.
Bro, listen.
Look, bro, take Viagra so that you can change it to.
Listen. You did call Shakur weight, bro.
No, but I didn't call him a bum. I didn't call him a bum, though.
Hold on, bro. You just talk. Listen, Albert Bell does have some advantages that's going to trouble Navarette. Look, Navarette, for the majority of his fights, we fought Dogbo, Ruben Villa, and all these cats. He is taller than Navarette, especially he's longer. And we just seen him when we fought Leon Wilson, a guy who's taller than Nava and got the same arm length. Navarette wasn't able to, look
exactly.
Albert Bell might just beat him.
The
only thing is Albert don't really have that experience, but at the end of the day, like if he's the mandatory, he's the mandatory. So I'm not too sure what's going on with Drew, but that boy's internet is fucked up. He keeps going on and off and dropping off. So you gotta fix Drew. But yeah, Albert Bell, and he comes from the school of Ohio, bro. Ohio does matter. I know that you want to be dismissive or just kind of say it don't really matter where you come from. Nah, bro. When you come from certain areas, kind of like Mexicans that come from Los Mochis, they got a certain attitude. So Ohio's got one of the tallest amateurs, and they have like out of the whole state in the United States, they develop the best champions, or they have the more champions in history. So don't say that it doesn't matter if you're from New York and all that stuff, because that mentality matters, bro. So
but that's because you're ignorant, EDG.
No.
You got to take some Viagra, bro.
Listen.
Stop being erectile dysfunction guy.
I will mute you if you just keep addressing that.
All right, yeah. All right, I'm not even gonna look at the chat. Let the ignorant be ignorant.
Listen, if you mention Butter Shakur, he's gonna act like he knew all these prophecies. He knew that Bud was gonna dominate and knock him. This is the guy that just
they're their best friend.
Listen, he just won $100,000 bet, bro, and all of a sudden he knows the secrets of the universe. That's who EDG is. So relax, bro. If he wants to read off a title, it's all good. You don't even know what the hell we're comparing. But that being said, yeah, Albert Bell is going to be a name to look out for. I would say he's like a contender. I wouldn't call him like he's the dude at 130 because I think Joe Cordina is a dude at 130. But
I would say he's in a similar position. I would say he's in a similar position to, let's say, Boots Ennis, right?
No.
Who they are very technical.
We know Boots is beating dudes that are damn near undefeated. Like even that cat Lara. We knew Lara because he beat. Well, I don't think he beat Rashidi Ellis, but he got the call versus Rashidi Ellis, but he did drop Rashidi 3-4 times. Now we know Boots because he's fought in tough contenders. No disrespect to that cat from San Jose, Andy Vences, but I mean he's, he don't want to get hit. He don't engage in the fight, and he's not willing to change. Go into third or the fourth gear. He's kind of cruise control, want to preserve his longevity, want to preserve his face. He ain't really about that smoke. So Albert outboxing him or whatever the case may be. I haven't seen the fight, so I don't really know how dominant he's be. But just from what I've seen, a couple of highlights from Albert Bell, he looks to be good, bro. He fights tall, and he reminds me of not Richard Comey, but the other kid from Ohio that got shot. He was Adrian Broner's pupil.
Robert Easter.
Robert Easter, yeah, Bunny.
Yeah.
So that's who he reminds me of. In fact, it kind of looks similar in how they fight. Because remember, Robert Easter is also like 6 feet tall. He's 5'11", and he fights very tall with his long arms. That's who Albert Bell reminds me of. And that's a good fighter, bro. In fact, hopefully Robert is doing well, and I want to see Easter back, man. He's good, bro. Anyway,
I've never seen him fight. I've never seen Albert Bell fight. Is he a Showtime fighter or a Top Rank fighter?
He used to be with Top Rank a few years ago,
Okay.
but under the undercards, obviously, because he's never really left the prospect uh, side of the sport. He's still climbing up, and if you look into his record, you're gonna see some
Yeah, I'm on it right
imbalanced
now.
records. Yeah, you're gonna see some guys with 11 wins, 20 losses, and so forth and so on. So they're making sure that he pads that record first,
Yeah,
and it
they
looks
have.
good.
He's only taken 1-0 as Andy Ventus, but I don't really see some notable names. Honestly, I just see a bunch of winning records, a bunch of solid records, but it looks like they're trying to pad this dude's record up a little bit.
No, they are, and it's funny because he's 6 foot tall,
I
fighting
see
at
that.
130.
Listen,
Like you don't really need to. You don't need to pad a record like that.
He's moving up and he's doing the proper steps. Relax, guys.
Well, I haven't seen him fight, so I mean, I can't say much about it, So I mean, if I'll have to check him out. But this dude got a 73-inch reach, which isn't that long though for a 6-footer. Usually, you're supposed to have a little something longer than that. But yeah, man, there's like Crawford who has a 72-inch reach, but yeah, this guy's a 130-pounder.
Yeah, no, you guys are looking at it the wrong way. He is a 130-pounder, so 6 feet tall. That's like a unicorn, and 74 arm length at 130. Mind you gotta weigh at 130 or less than 130. So that boy, like damn near, skin and bone.
Yeah,
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So it makes sense why he only got like 7 knockouts out of 24 victories. But it looks like he's using his height. You guys are dissecting this the wrong way. It's like who he fought. Like, it's like the ranking. So it's like all in due time. He'll get there. But the fact that you guys are already starting picking holes and like, you guys are not really looking at this from a 130-pounder. You size him up against Valdez. It don't matter if Valdez has more muscle. If you can't even reach his chin because the motherfucker's 6 foot tall and he's gonna keep you at bay with those long arms. If Valdez couldn't even really touch Navarette, he wouldn't be able to touch Albert Bell. Albert Bell would just box circles around this dude. You know what I mean?
Albert Bell's probably one of those fighters that improve as he goes up in weight.
It's like absolutely, bro. 6 feet tall can get you all the way. Like, look at Jermell Charlo. That dude's like 5'10" and a half, 5'11". Yeah. So if he's fighting out at 168, Biv was at 6'1". If Albert Bell is 6'0", if he adds the muscle properly and takes his time, bro, like, what we talking about here? This dude can damn near, like, bro, we saw Mike Tyson at 5'10", 5'11" heavyweight. So it all depends on muscle and all that stuff. And Albert Bell has not look. Skills pay the bills, guys. You guys gotta look at it like, bro,
skills
it was
pay the bills.
Fighting a dude that's 6 feet tall, bro.
Names get you fame. I made that one up.
Well, that's why he called the winner. Even before he took that fight, he called the winner. Then after he won on Friday, he called out the winner, and he flew in yesterday to Glendale to speak to them. So he's obviously, his handlers think that he's ready for this type of competition, to this type of leveling up. And the one thing that I see in Navarrete, which is hard to overcome for many, is the way that he uses his height, which is not too tall for that weight class, but his reach. He actually fights like somebody who it's hard to hit, because not only of his reach, because of the way he moves. So I looked at Albert Bell and I said, okay, he's not shorter than Emmanuel Navarette. He's not shorter armed than Emmanuel Navarette. So he will, that those attributes that Emmanuel Navarette has won't necessarily be there to play a favorable factor for Emmanuel Navarette. And they have been in the top rank business. And he just knocked down and stopped his opponent, which looks very good, because I don't think anybody wants to see an 6 foot tall fighter who still plays, who fights so cautiously that you decide to forego the opportunity to knock out your opponent for the sake of making sure you take an easy win, going 10, 12 rounds. So that looked good on him. He looks like he's ready to level up. and who, even though he hasn't fought anybody, he's starting to talk like he wants to smoke.
Look,
Go
I
for
don't
it,
know
because
what you're talking about. Listen, listen.
he's good.
Hold on. It don't matter what Albert Bell wants, unless he's top 10 in the rankings or a mandatory. He can talk all he wants. Listen, bro, I just looked up his box rank. He's ranked 50 in the world. 50 in the world. He's out of 195 contestants in the United States. He's ranked in the top 10. But he's
Chris
50
Colbert
the
is in that
so
division.
He's slowly moving up. He still got to get through Leon Wilson's, Rakhimov, and all these other fighters before he gets talking about the champions. Unless he's got like a political play, but he's no different, or he's got a little more experience than Kurt Scobie. You guys don't know Kurt Scobie, but Kurt Scobie is a dude that knocked out recently, like 3 weeks ago, that Philly cat fighter, Hank Lundy. Okay, so again, I don't know if Albert Bell is up there in the sanctioning bodies. I would have to check the WBC or whatever belt Navarette just won.
WBA, WBO, he won.
Okay, so yeah, he just gotta, if he's in the top 10, then he's in the top 10. But it don't really matter if he thinks he's ready, bro. Like, I don't know why you got really defensive about it. Like, if you guys haven't seen a fight of him, you guys are judging a dude.
No, I saw him fight Friday.
You guys haven't seen, so you guys don't do that. Like,
I'm just saying this is a more realistic. What I'm saying is that this is a more realistic fight than, let's say, Naoya Inoue or Shakur Stevens.
Of course,
that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't want to bring up those fights because those are fantasy matchups, and just out of not just conversating, you guys brought that shit up. I didn't care.
Oh, but my philosophy. I don't fantasize about things. I make them real. You see what I'm saying? So I don't really look at those possible match-make fantasy dream fights unless they become reality. So I deal with what is reasonable.
In my opinion, I think the more names they have in their record, the more they're getting paid. The more likely the more they're getting paid, or the more they're fighting the big names, the more likely these big fights happen.
Yo, check this out. So Shakur Stevenson said this. Anybody that knows boxing knows styles make fights, right? Also, I dominated almost every round against all of them. He lost rounds to most of them, but send him my way if y'all think otherwise. Y'all know I don't care who across the ring from me.
Okay? I want to see it.
So,
answer that question.
Look, bro, listen.
Who's he talking about?
I know Shakur will fight Naverette. You know what I'm saying? And styles do make fights. So we know Shakur is a streaky, bro, he's good. As you can see, he's emulating Terran Bud's Crawford style on the southpaw, right? Understanding the wrestling, the pivoting maneuvers. He's got it all. Okay, but let me put it to you like this. When Shakur fought Ruben Villa, and all this is the amateurs, he's 2-2 with him, but he beat him in the moments that count the most. But when he beat him, Navarette beat Ruben Villa the way Shakur couldn't. So there's something to say about the art of dominating a motherfucker. Okay? You can talk all your shit and outbox me with your jab and just stick and move and tap with me and fence. And you're playing fencing. Boom, tag your it. But then there's how Navarette does. To this day, I've never seen Shakur make anybody's eye that Navarette made on Oscar Valdez just yesterday. So I know Shakur is more talented. I know he's got better footwork. But he can't do what Navarette does. And conversely, Navarette don't do what Shakur do. But if Shakur is looking for a fight, he can go fight a champion at 130. Now, I know Shakur's at 135, but he ain't getting no fights at 135.
Yep, there you go.
Edwin De Los Santos, okay, who beat Rayo Valenzuela and just beat the Puerto Rican kid. I forgot what his name is. Okay, he ain't going to fight him. He ain't going to fight Jermaine Ortiz. He ain't going to get Devin Haney. More than likely won't get Lomachenko. So who you going to fight? George Kambosos? Yep. We just saw George Kambosos get beat by Maxie Hughes. 10 rounds to 2. But they gave it to George. So what's Shakur going to do? Who are you going to fight?
Yep.
Exactly.
So, look, whether he's better than Navarette is cool. More than likely he'll win. More than likely the bookies will have Shakur the favorite. I'm just saying I still want to see the fight.
Yeah, prove that shit to me. I
just want to see it.
Shut me up.
Bro, this is boxing, bro. Yeah. And we're talking about any other sport, and we're talking about the Green Bay Packers. Guess what? If the record says they're 14-2, and they have to fight the Cleveland Browns, who might be 7-9, and they're on the wild card, they still got to get it on. if the Detroit Lions are 0-16 and the fucking 49ers are 15-1, they still gotta compete. So what we talking about here, bro? This is why I'm not really tripping about people be like, oh, styles make fights and this motherfucker beats this one. We'll just beat him.
Yeah,
Like,
then do
bro,
it.
this is what I don't understand. And if you do get beat, it's okay. Bro, this is boxing. Like,
He's on your resume.
Valdez got his jaw broken by Scott Quigg. He got his eye fucked up last night. Okay. 5 months from now, he can go on and fight Joe Cordina and probably beat him. You see what I'm saying? Errol Spence got fucked up by Bud Crawford. Okay, cool. He can move up to 154 or 160, and he can fight, let's say, Brian Castano, and he can give a badass fucking fight worth of memories. I'm all for it. Like, bro, just because you lose, it ain't the end of the world, bro. This is boxing. We've done seen Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward fight each other 3-4 fucking times. Amazing fucking fights. Rafael Marquez versus Israel Vasquez 7 fucking times. Motherfuckers are blinded now. Just fight, bro. I don't know why people get all bent out of shape. Like, who cares, bro? This ain't a pissing contest. It ain't about who got a bigger dick. I'm just trying to see the best fight the best. And if Shakur needs somebody to fight, he can fight Navarette. What's wrong with that? Oh, he beat some. It's all good. Bro, we act like we're fans of Shakur.
But you see,
So
I think
he's a fucking evil motherfucker.
so let me ask you, homie Ricky, and you too, Drew. Who is the political machine in favor of? Who would they move a cog for to benefit whom? Would Top Rank do everything to make things happen for Shakur Stevens? In other words, like have Emmanuel Navarette move up to fight that guy? Or is Emmanuel Navarette the one with the momentum behind him? So that and they would have to look at Shakur Stevens and be like, well, you really don't have much options at 135. You can come back down at 130 where you only fought for 4 times and you only 2.5 pounds off.
I think Shakur is gonna make Navarette move up to 135, bro. I don't think he's ever gonna touch 130 again. I think he's too busy growing into the weight, because if he's too busy trying to lose muscle, he's not really focused at 135 anymore.
He's still technically a 130 fighter because he hasn't really fought at 135, except of course the weight.
He fought once and he fought that Japanese fighter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
But that's the thing, like
such a memorable fight.
Like Terrence Crawford, bro. He was at this whole time he was growing into the weight. He was getting his jab right. He realized I don't have the best jab, and then he fucking upped his jab for the Errol Spence fight. So I think he makes the proper adjustments. What was I saying? Oh yeah, just like that. You just have to like grow into the weight class, stay at the weight class, and see what you need to work on. See what your weaknesses are against different opponents, because you need to look at different styles, and you need to, like Roy Jones Jr. said, you need to sharpen those tools. And you don't want to just use the screwdriver. You want to use the hammer. You want to use you want to use a tape measure. You want to use all your tools to get the job done. And if you just want to do one thing good, you're gonna have to stay at the weight class and fight different styles, and that's how you grow into the weight class. Just like Terrence did, he faced many styles, and he got through them in their own unique way, but he got the job done.
Yeah.
And he was
it's just the longer that you stay in the weight class, the more you're gonna fill in, the more that you understand how to manipulate your weight to cut down to the weight.
Yeah.
You get used to the sparring partners that weigh a certain way. Like if I'm, fighting at 135, I'm not really sparring 135 pounders. I'm sparring 147 pounders, maybe 154 pounders. So by the time I get to 135, like this is nothing. And then I bring in some small dudes like at 122, 126, just because those 135 pounders might be a little fast. So I want to be twitchy as well and turn the right reflex. So look, 135 don't matter. The thing is this, and we talk about Shakur Navarette, both dudes are amazing, okay? And we know Shakur's skills. He's trying to emulate Bud Crawford. But there's a different streak between Bud Crawford and Shakur, okay? When Bud Crawford fights, he knocks dudes out and he hurts them. And we're talking about dudes that he stepped up with. We're talking about Victor Postol. He dropped him like 3-4 times. We're talking about Felix Diaz. Those fights get stopped. When Shakur fights guys where he fights a little, he gets struggled a little bit, like Jeremiah Nakatalia, guess what? he cruises for 12 rounds. That was not a memorable fight.
No, I'm gonna get dropped
He
off.
with one right hand, and he played it safe.
He dropped him
He
once, right?
understood that he could not get in there. Now, on the flip side, when he was getting hit with Robson Conceição, he started bullying him, stepping onto him, and he realized this is not the fight today where I look pretty. He had a big old bump looking like Hellboy right in the middle of his forehead. So he's like, I'm ugly. Now let's fucking and he showed
Hell
me
boy.
that he can dog walk somebody and be gritty versus Robson Conceição, though he didn't make the weight and all these things and all these factors go into it. But Shakur is learning from Bud Crawford. So if you want to know, to answer one of your questions, what you said, who got more backing, it'll always be Shakur. I'm not gonna always say it's always gonna be the black fighter, but in terms of the market, yeah, right now for top rank is pushing well, not Scooter, because Scooter is Stephen Fulton, but Tiger Johnson, Devin Haney, Devin Haney, but they got all those fighters, Mason Abdullah, so that's what they're trying to push. So Keyshawn Davis, so that's their momentum right now. They come in waves. Everything's all about waves. It's all about knowing the market and knowing how to put people on the undercards and building up all the fighters up one another. Now, whether they're going to fight one another, like, is Mason Abdullah ever going to fight Keyshawn Davis? I don't know. Probably doubt it. Is Tiger Johnson going to fight Abdullah Mason? Probably not. That's my homie. We spar together all the time. Ooh, you're just playing the same game that Arizlandi Lara and Jermell Charlo played. Then nothing. They sparred each other thousands of times, but both of you guys are champions, or y'all both undefeated, and y'all never going to fight another. Because that's my homie. He came out from another mother, but that's my brother. So it's always going to happen like that. So what you be, their secret to success is just make the Mexican move up and we'll knock him down. That's what they do. So that's Oscar Valdez has been food for all those fighters. You know what I mean? Same thing. He's food for Navarette. Like, let's be honest.
But he's a good test for the upcomers. He's a solid test for the upcomers, you know.
Yeah. So the thing is, there's a couple of things that I find it reasonable, right? The thought that we should expect for Oscar Valdez to come back down to 126 at his age, which is not easy when one's metabolism slows down like that, for the sake of being competitive, but yet we don't demand the same of Shakur Stevens to come back down to 135 to take on fights when we just have the momentum of the Mexican who had one of the greatest promotional video buildups in recent history. We just had a great production for Oscar Valdez and Naverette, which I thought was incredible. The intensity of all the fight fans wanting to see this fight, that's very momentous. That favors Navarrete. It would have favored Oscar Valdez had he won, but Oscar Valdez just got destroyed where he's never been destroyed before by somebody who everybody critiques as being so flawed and doing everything wrong, but yet somehow coming out victorious. And they just had a crazy promotion for the guy, and it would be remiss. It would be remiss of Emmanuel Navarette to give up the momentum and everything that is just he's just accomplished, so that he can appease the little demands and expectations, of somebody like Shakur Stevens. That's what I say. In fact, I think the question really should be: should Emmanuel Navarrete be in the pound for pound and take up the spot that, if anybody had, Shakur Stevens in there for? So if you look at all of those things, Emmanuel Navarrete really has so much to go for and exploit for proper business, and to demand the fighters to if they want some of that smoke, come to me. Don't go to 135, especially only having fought there twice at 130. Ridiculous.
No, not only that, bro, but he can fight that guy that just beat Xavier Martinez, right? Like I think last week on Friday, I think his name's like Jesus Ocampo or Ortega. What was that dude's name? The guy that's living from Las Vegas, he's undefeated. I think he's up next to fight Navarette. So
Okay.
like, there's a lot of things that Navarette can do. He can fight Brandon Figueroa. He can try fighting Ray Vargas. He can try to fight and knock out all these other Mexicans, right? If he moves up to 135 to fight Shakur, which is probably his biggest payday that he'll get up to this date, right? Knowing what you just said, that he only has 2 fights at 130. He hasn't filled out into the division. This guy's skills is good for who he's fighting right now. He don't have Naoya Inoue skills.
Yeah, no.
Right?
No.
Because, like, look, bro.
But this dude throws everything.
Steven Fortune's a really good boxer, and he can fight. You know what I mean? But Steven Fortune is not like a Floyd Mayweather. He not like a Boots Ennis. He's not a Bud Crawford. You know what I mean? Steven Fortune had a tough fight with Angelo Leo and a tough fight versus Brandon Figueroa. Okay, so we knew he was gonna be a 50-50. He just got dominated. I don't know what it is, but listen, Navarette, bro. One of the things I like about Navarette, okay, is that he's not supposed to be here. He's an overachiever because, again, going back to the little beginning that I had, everything that we know about boxing, Navarette ain't supposed to beat these guys. He's not. Okay, so he's probably in cloud 9 right now, enjoying the world because he thought in his world he would never be able to beat Oscar Valdez. And he said it in the interview when he was un round mas with Eric Morales and Barrera. He goes, look, dude, I know about Valdez. I know about him in the amateurs. Like, for me to even compete and share the ring with this dude, it's amazing. And if I can win, he was almost talking about, like, he was unsure about himself and about his skills that he could beat Valdez. Yeah. Valdez, not only with the bookies, but Top Rank loves Valdez. Again, they try to erase history as if Valdez didn't pop dirty when he beat and they robbed Robson Conceição. So Valdez has the backing. He's with Canelo, so people know him. He's the hardened warrior. He's got that spirit, fights with broken jaws. He was beloved by everybody. Like, this motherfucker knows no fear. And we saw it last night. He has no fear. He can have one eye shut. It could be bursting, and he's still going to be fighting. He got no quit in him. You have to, he said, almost damn near kill him.
Yeah.
Right?
So
he's got that backing, and Navarette doesn't. And that's one of the things that I love about Navarrette's polarizing style is it's unique and it's his own. The other only fighter that I see kind of fight and throw similar punches is Venado Alberto Lopez. And guess what? That fucker is also a champion at 126. He also knocked out Michael Condon. He beat Josh Warrington. All right? So these guys have their own style, and it's working. Never would you think, again, against conventional wisdom and everything that you know about boxing, Navarette ain't supposed to be here. He ain't supposed to beat those dudes, let alone be a 3-time divisional champion, bro.
He's going above and beyond what he's actually supposed to be doing right now.
I mean, look at his and here's the thing, bro. Look at his record. It's against some bad motherfuckers, bro. Isaac Dogbo, Robbie C. Ramirez, a 2-time gold medalist, couldn't knock him down.
I'm like, is Navarette paying him on the side or something, bro? Because this dude's fucking just getting.
You can't tell me if Robbie C. Ramirez beat Shakur, you can't, and he beat Ruben Villa, Navarette. Yeah. And you told me that Shakur were to move down to 126 or 130, and you're gonna tell me that Navarette don't stand a chance? Bro, Shakur couldn't knock out Robbie C. Ramirez.
Yeah.
He couldn't knock out Ruben Villa. Navarette could.
Yep.
Or he did so against similar opponents that, you know, they can pick and choose. Shakur couldn't do that. So I know Shakur's might be more polished and dominant.
Shakur feels some type of way.
That Navarette has.
I already know Shakur feels some type of way when he seen Oscar Valdez's face, bro. He said, "Fuck."
Listen, Shakur right now, I'm gonna look at him as a businessman.
I think I say something else.
About business, he would have taken that 25% against Devin Haney. Devin Haney sent them a contract, and Shakur denied it. Listen to me. When you're not a champion and you're just a mandatory for the champion, the contract states you only get 25%. That's the fucking bylaws. You bring nothing to the table. Devin just beat Lomachenko. He's fighting Regis. He's undisputed. Ring, Lineal, all these dudes. So Shakur, I know he ain't all about that smoke. Does he want to get paid handsomely for Devin Haney? Sure. I'm sure he does. I'm sure everybody wants to get paid handsomely. But at the end of the day, Are you taking this fight for legacy? If you get the Devin Haney fight, if so, take the 25. But he didn't. So he ain't all that smoke that these guys want a picture of. Shakur is a bad dude. He is that dude. But I seen him lose to Robeisy Ramirez, the same dude who's a 2-time gold medalist and got knocked out in his first fight. You see what I'm saying? By a flawed Mexican.
Yeah, bro. He's
Robeisy Ramirez got dropped, and he got knocked out.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Dogbo gave him a good fight. Naverette beat that fucker twice.
But I bet you
had his eyes nasty.
I bet you anything this fight don't happen though, bro.
So again, Navarette could get beat. I done seen Leon Wilson almost fuck him up.
He's too flawed, bro. It's obvious that it's obvious, bro. I want to
see the fight. Like, it's a good fight.
Yeah, just prove it to me. I'm not tweaking for asking for it. I'm just asking for the results. You know, that's all I want.
No, we're just asking for the fight. The results are gonna be whatever, you know, however the fight shapes out to be. Everybody think it's 60-40, 50-50. But then you put Bud versus Spence, and nobody predicted a fucking shellacking of what we saw. No one's gonna know that. Like, oh, I'm gonna knock him down in the first and the second round with a 2-1 that hits his neck, not the chin. I'm gonna knock him out 3-4 times. Nobody knew that. They were thinking it was gonna be competitive, and it was not. Everybody thought Valdez versus Navarrete was gonna be competitive. It was not. Same thing with Wilder and Fury. They thought it was gonna be competitive. Well, the first fight and even the third fight were competitive, but no one was expecting the second fight to be like that. Okay, so it happens, bro. You get shit wrong. I'm not saying Navarrete will beat Shakur. I'm just saying Navarrete has dominated the same opponents better than Shakur has. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's not being biased. That's called facts.
Do you think Shakur will get the credit? Do you think he'll get the credit for beating Navarrete at 135 more than at 130?
No.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if that were the next fight, Navarrete never fought at 135.
Well,
it's like if Shakur would have moved up to 135 and immediately fight Lomachenko.
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
Like, bro, you haven't even fought nobody. Now he fought a Japanese fighter, an undefeated fighter. I don't know. I think the undefeated fighter was like 18-0, 14-0, 12-0. I'm not too sure, but he beat him, so he's getting acclimated to the weight class. And then I don't know how he's the mandatory off the get-go, but I mean, he is at the top.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But I mean, that's when you got good business handlers. That's when you got, you know, the politics and the machine behind you to, you know, take you to the top off the get-go. Look, we know Shakur is the real deal. He's beating some badass dudes. Conceição is a great victory. Valdez is a very good fighter. Joel Gonzalez is a very good fighter. Okay. Jamal Herring is a very good fighter. You see?
Yeah.
You're not saying Shakur is ass. Like, no one here is saying Shakur cannot beat Navarrete.
Yeah.
What we're saying is
his actions.
When they fight the same dudes, Navarrete does something completely different to those fighters that up to this day, Shakur has failed to do. That's it. And that's not being biased, or that's not because I'm Mexican, I'm supporting other Mexicans. No, I support Shakur. I've seen all his fucking fights. I've seen him since he's an amateur. I like Shakur. This is not me trying to slander or, you know, defame Shakur's character or anything. No, I'm just saying what I've seen. And what I've seen is what I've been telling you guys for the past 2 hours.
Yeah, no, Shakur's knows about distance. He's like probably one of the best boxers at timing and knowing his distance with his opponents. So all that, you know, can only mean so much when Navarrete can time you up. If Navarrete can time you up and just come at you like from all angles, that almost won't mean anything. But I wouldn't be shocked if he wins, bro. I wouldn't be shocked if he outboxes him and gets on that bike, you know. Or Speed, you all right?
Yeah. No, it's interesting dialogue that you guys are having. Absolutely. There's you know, I have nothing to disagree with there. Everything that the homie Ricky said was factual and well recent, and I have you know, nothing to disagree with.
I seen Navarrete had to strip down, so he must have struggled with the weight cut or something. But I think he only like outweighed it for by like 0.1 pound or something like that.
At this most recent weigh-in.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
was
so
like,
that's the
let me
thing.
look at that.
The dedication, the nutrition, of Emmanuel Navarrete really has always been an issue with him. Um, because he's always as we started off this live, right? He's climbed up divisions very quickly. Um, Obviously, a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's not adhering to a strict diet and a good physical regimen. He's likely not living the fighter's lifestyle. Um, so it shows in his body too, because he's never been a well-defined, chiseled fighter, and I've never seen him at that. Even when he was fighting as low as 122, I think 122 he looked good, but at 126, you ever see muscles on that boy?
Nah,
That boy is so round.
yeah,
He's got like a dad bod. He's like
yeah,
a dad bod, like, and he still has a dad bod. And if you're telling me he pulled down his undies so that he can make weight, oh my goodness, he's already reaching the weight limit, like with the difficulty. Um, so that's the thing, and you know that he's obviously able to make 130 much more than just the duration of one fight.
mhm,
So he's just not taking himself serious. uh had he gone up to over 130, it would have been an embarrassment,
mhm.
because then he would have been telling the world, listen, I only fought once at 130. I knew that I was taking on the biggest challenge in the highest purse in all of my career against Oscar Valdez, and still I wasn't able to do the necessary steps to make myself come in at weight, uh, to make it happen. But luckily, that was not the case because, like you said, he stripped down and he was able to miraculously make it. But he's walking some dangerous waters there. He really had to take himself serious, because the thing is this: he may not take himself serious, or maybe he has a lot of the external, outside the ring, you know, distractions. Um, but right now he has so much momentum. We had some of the greatest champions of all of Mexico's fighting history at the ringside watching him. They gave him, they coronated him with a special made
The jacket.
jacket, handed to him by legends,
Yeah,
because they expected this to be a battle of Mexican warriors, which it was,
yeah, it was a
though
great
one
fight.
that was dominant. But he has to really take himself serious.
Yeah, no, Navarrete is starting to garner more attention. He's obviously needs to fight the bigger name now. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He needs to fight. He needs to start looking at Shakur and start calling him out. But uh, I just don't feel like Shakur is like that, man. He's looking at the bigger names and shit like that. So he looks at. I'm pretty sure he looks at Navarrete like kind of like a hassle to figure out. Probably will figure out get him figured out, but answer. Give me that answer, man. I want to see it. So anyways, hey, did you guys watch any of the hear about the Showtime fights?
I missed them, and in fact, I was gonna tell you when you were discussing the fights that you watched on
Yeah.
on the undercard of the ESPN. I completely missed them. I know that when I tried to log in, like it was just like a background. I don't know why there was some interruption. It looked like it, but I was very busy yesterday working on this car. So I just tuned in for the main event. I watched that one, and I watched the Anthony Joshua fight. I just barely hopped on for those because I knew that they were the stellar fights of the night. But everything else I basically missed. And I was watching the replay earlier on in the day, uh, early in the morning, but I was just like glossing over the thing.
Yeah. No, I was watching this kid named Trayvon Marshall. He trains with like Gary Antoine Russell out of like Maryland. And this dude, I was watching his highlights. He looked good, man. And then he fought this dude named Gabriel El Capitan Maestre.
Yeah.
This dude's calling out Stanionis, and he's actually hoping he gets an opportunity with him. But yeah, man, this guy actually Trayvon Marshall 8-0, 7 knockouts. Right, it was a 10 rounder, and his Gabriel El Maes El Capitan was 5-0 and 1 with 4 knockouts, and he's already calling out Stanionis. So it was kind of crazy. So I seen him fight. And this dude laid it on Trayvon Marshall, man. He put him in you know how Errol Spence said, put him in the dirt? He literally put his face on the canvas, bro. He literally put his face on the dirt. And yeah, bro, El Capitan, bro. Like he's good, bro. He's a 2-time Olympian. He almost won a bronze medalist in the last Olympics out of Valenzuela. So this guy is pretty solid, man.
You mean
Valenzuela?
Venezuela?
Yeah.
Venezuela?
Uh-huh.
What? Oh, okay.
This dude looks good, man. He's like a rugged fighter. I want to see him versus Stanionis, but I seen his record. I was kind of shocked. I was like, man, 5-0. Like, you got to build that record up. Like we were saying yesterday, you really got to be something special to get a world title shot in like, less than 10 fights, let alone 5,
Yeah,
so,
that's what I said about Lomachenko.
yeah, I mean, that's never gonna that's why he's done that. That's never been done, so that's why it's another subject, but that's why he's a Hall of Famer, but yeah, man. I was watching that fight, and Gary Antoine Russell obviously did really good. Against a guy, undefeated guy, 16-0, 10 knockouts. He also put him in the dirt. So those fights were good. I was trying to watch as much as possible before I left to Ricky's house and watch the ESPN fights. But yeah, and I missed the Manny Rodriguez fight because I already knew what was going to happen. He actually ended up stopping his opponent, Melvin. No, actually, he ended up going to unanimous, I believe, with Melvin Lopez. Melvin Lopez, Nicaragua, some dude from Nicaragua, 8-win streak. Yeah, man, he was pretty good, but yeah, Manny Rodriguez just too much, man. He'd been there with some dogs, so yeah, that was a good fight, but I rather watch the the ESPN fights.
Yeah, that's very refreshing.
Hey, so do you guys want to see, or do you guys want to talk about the heavyweight fights on the zone, or do you guys want to make that a subject for tomorrow?
No, so let me just address that one Maestre thing. I thought he was Canadian, but I guess he's Venezuelan. I'm confused with him. Yeah, I thought it was Canadian, but no, he's Venezuelan. I confused him with another fighter, but isn't it refreshing though? If I'm interpreting correctly, what you're telling me is that he's an Olympian that's aggressive and fights to knock out his opponents.
Yeah, no, he looks promising, man.
Okay, so that's incredible because how many transplants from the Olympics and come to the pros and don't fight that way. They fight cautiously. They're out fighters. Just hit and move, and never really this
guy looked polished.
The point system.
This guy looked polished. It looked like he's been there before. He's also a lot older though. He's in his 30s. So this dude was amateur fighting in his late 30s. I mean late 20s, my bad. So this guy was one of those journeymans in a sense. Even though he was barely 5-0. But Trayvon Marshall was a young guy. He's like 19 years old or 20 years old or something like that. So they try to throw him in there. They're trying to build this guy up because this guy's getting like first round, second round knockouts and just demolishing dudes. And they set him up against a fucking another killer, and ended up putting his face in the dirt, bro. Like
I love that.
I believe it was a 10-rounder. He got laid out like in the 7th round, I believe. But yeah, I was like, oh my god, like that was an entertaining fight. You guys see that? Trayvon Marshall versus Gabriel Maestre. Really good fight.
Gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, dude. I was like, oh my god. And then I put a little parlay, so he kind of killed my parlay. I thought Trayvon Marshall was gonna get the KO. Jose Benavidez actually fought as well. He got the knockout against some Ukrainian guy. But surprisingly, he didn't even fight in the pay-per-view. He was fighting on the prelims, some shit you can watch on YouTube, you know?
Yeah, but you know why though, right?
No, I don't know why. Why is that? He's a big name. He's a good name, you know?
Yeah, no, he's a big name. He is, but his opponent was not. In fact, the opponent, if I'm not mistaken, because I looked at him, because I read an article, and when I was trying to break down the undercard for that ESPN event, I saw Jose Benavidez Jr. there, and I was like, oh, interesting, because I haven't really heard of him since he fought at, I think he fought at 154 against, who was it? But he still lost. Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lost to Danny Garcia 154. And that's the fight where Danny started to cry or something like that.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked. I was like, whoa, you know. I was.
Yeah. Well, he's just I don't comment about those kind of things. But when I saw the guy's record, I was like, yo, that's why nobody's making a deal about this, because that guy had like I think he was almost 50-50. Like, it was like the guy was just there to get, warm up this guy, really, to tell you the truth. He wasn't there to compete.
Yeah, no. That, I guess, some dude named Jesse Hart fought. But yeah, nothing much. This dude named Michael Angeletti from New Orleans, 8-0, 7 knockouts, fought some dude named Jonathan Boom Boom Lopez. I believe Angeletti just outboxed him. He was one of those guys. I think I remember him seeing him in the amateurs, in the national Golden Gloves. He was like one of those guys representing Louisiana. So he looks pretty good. Look, they're trying to build that guy up. But yeah, man, that's all I've really seen from those Showtime fights. And yeah, it feels like we already talked about a lot about the Naverette shit. We talked our shit about that.
Well, what do you think about the whole idea that Anthony Joshua took 7 rounds to take out Robert Helenius, which, by the way, believe it or not, Robert Helenius just fought last weekend.
Yeah. Oh, I seen that. I was like, what the hell? I heard it looked like somebody's alley that they fought in.
But how did he get clearance, though? Don't you at least have a 30-day just like suspension?
Yeah, I think there's going to be some repercussions, bro, because
I know it's different commissions, different countries probably, but isn't there some type of all right, you can't do that. You're suspended from this sanctioning body at least for 30 days until you can fight your next fight.
Yeah, so
all I'm saying is this: had Anthony Joshua fought like King Kong Ortiz or Andy Ruiz that Saturday, based on what I saw, that hesitation that Anthony Joshua, it's like, bro, and this is the fight that we're supposed to see the dog out of you, and you decided to box with jab. It's like, bro, you could have gotten this dude out, not busted your nose, and had you just put a little bit of pressure and just a little bit of anger and animosity towards you, you could have knocked him out in the first round. That right hand was there the whole night.
Yep. And you seen his face in the corner when Derek James was telling him go for the right hand.
And he was telling him, hey, are you all right? And Joshua was like, yeah. That lets me know it's like, bro, it's just Joshua. I don't care if you have Derek James, Manny Robles, Robert Garcia. If you're not going to be aggressive, if you're not going to use that muscle, if you're not going to use your height and those big-ass fists, then what is all that powerlifting for? If you're just going to just fucking Peter Pan and throw jabs. You fuck around with Wilder like that, Wilder will fucking sleep you.
And
Fury will sleep you.
He did what he was supposed to do though. I mean, he did get the knockout at least, and he needed to do that in order to actually get the Wilder fight. Honestly, he needed to do exactly that, or else, I don't know, it would have been harder to make that Wilder fight. It would have been a lot more negotiations. I think this knockout makes the negotiations a lot faster.
I don't think he gonna fight Wilder, bro.
Dude,
I think to this day he's putting on a front He ain't
Really?
he don't want to fight Wilder. He not going to fight Wilder. In
Really?
fact, like him choosing Robert Helenius lets me know that he's not gonna fight Wilder. He just wants to win that argument, like, oh, we have the same common opponents, and this is
Puff
gonna
his
lead
chest
up to
out.
Wilder. I'll keep you guys entertained, and then by December he's gonna go fucking fight Dylan White.
Oh shit!
Like
You
not
think so?
exactly, but I'm basically what I'm saying is just like, hey, I beat Robert Helenius too.
And if he gets the fight, what happened? What would you say?
Nah, I hope. Wait, what? Sorry, what was your question?
And if he gets the fight, what would you start saying about
Versus
AJ?
Deontay Wilder?
Yeah.
About fucking time.
Oh, okay.
You could have done fought Wilder when both of you cats were undefeated, and it would have been for undisputed. Now you done lost like 3-4 fucking times. You're fucking mentally shell shocked. You don't want to let your hands go. You're not aggressive enough. You're changing trainers, passing off. You're talking shit about Barry Culligan, talking shit about Robert Garcia. Went over there and fucking Errol Spence done lost. Frank Martin looks. I'm not even gonna say Frank Martin. That dude that was fighting, stepped up to the plate, looked good. Artem, Joshua didn't look that great. I mean, Robert Helenius, bro, he's not all that, bro.
But you've seen AJ showing like frustration in the corner. Like he'll shrug. He'll be like, okay, I guess, after Derek James tells him to like go for the right, he like shrugs. Like, come on, man, don't give me that shrug. Like, I guess shrug, like, nah, bro. Like this shows a lot about his character. He still hasn't like corrected himself. And I think
if I'm, I agree. If I'm Joshua, bro, I'm not even gonna lie. I might take a session and go train with the Crunk dude over there at Detroit. Sugar Hill. I'm gonna go train with him. That dude he's mean, he's angry, and he's gonna tell you straight up. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Sugar Hill is a cop.
Yeah. And
he's like from Detroit, and he got fucking Emmanuel Stewart, like wisdom and tutelage under him. So he's gonna be like, bro, like, and I guarantee you Sugar Hill wants that paycheck, and I know he wants a little get back at Tyson Fury. Because Tyson Fury and them kind of like disrespected him. They didn't sign in for the Francis Ngannou fight. Tyson Fury's pop was talking shit like, oh man, he should have kept his mouth shut. When I see him, I'm gonna deck him. Anthony Joshua right now should be an opportunist and go sign with Sugar Hill and go learn whatever he's implementing on his fighters, because that dude, he knows how to bring that dog out of you. What happened when Tyson Fury was with that UK trainer? He was all slick, herky-jerky movement, jab, hitting behind the head. What happened when he moved over to Kronk gym? He started, he knocked the block off Wilder. Like, we've never seen Fury look that dominant. Even when he fought SS Steve Cunningham, like, Fury got dropped by looping right over the top. Boom! Sat his ass down. And then Tyson Fury came out really aggressive in that fight, was being very dirty. So we saw that, we knew that he can do that. But with Sugar Hill, he brought it out of him even more. So that's who Anthony Joshua needs. He doesn't need to refine his technique. You're a heavyweight, bro. You're a big boy. Act like one. Don't try to finesse and pop all these little Peter Pan jabs like the featherweights. Bro, you got power, bro. You bench fucking 385 pounds, power clean close to 1,000 type of shit. Use that fucking muscle and boom, impose your fucking will.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know why he wanted to jab with Robert Helenius, bro. Like, what?
Yeah, he was actually beating him to the punch too. Helenius was.
His fucking nose broken.
Yeah, I was like, bro, he's really beating you to the punch. Like, what the fuck, and they were trying to time each other up.
6'10", and you want to fucking fight a Mexican that's 5'6", all close in range, bro. Use your fucking height and long ass arms. Like, what do you? I don't know, bro. Joshua's a weird individual, but hey. It is what it is.
I don't know, man. Bro. And did you see what Tyson Fury said about that? He said Wilder knocks him out in 1 round. Crazy, huh?
Hey, well,
I believe it, man.
Yeah.
He
said this. I'm willing to put down $1 million, bet $1 million that AJ gets knocked out in round 1.
Well, here's the thing about Luke Fury. Right, you don't believe anything he says. That's just the fact. He won't put $1 million back. He won't donate any of his money to a charity. just like he won't take his own fight where he proposes a 70-30 split.
Cokehead, bro. Why you gonna believe all that shit?
Yeah, don't believe that guy. He's a gypsy. That's where the word gyp comes from. Like
Yeah, I know.
I'm not trying to say anything bad. It's just that's really part of the guy's culture to con people, and he posts it. He posts that move every single time. So no, he won't bet
You watch too
$1 million.
many Snatch movies.
Yeah, he watches too much of the too many
Yeah.
snatch movies, and he's
Telling
not
you.
gonna put $1 million.
They're prima donnas, man. In the UK, they think their life is a movie, man. And they find out in the ring when they fight an American. Most of the time. Here's
Yeah,
the
but
difference.
look,
I don't know, bro. You
I-
speak some hot shit right there, Jew. You careful, bro.
look, check this out.
I
So this is Anthony Joshua, right?
can show you examples.
What a lot of people say about Anthony Joshua, right, is that he's not mentally there, that he hasn't been himself mentally since he lost to Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, he's frustrated.
That his fighting style changed, that he became much more tentative, much more reluctant to execute any type of aggression through physical, through more physical means, and instead tries to use more technical means for victories. And so when we look at something like that, we have to say, okay, what does a victory like the one that he just obtained against Robert Helenius, what does that do for his psyche? He stopped the guy. Now let me just run some facts by you. Okay, the last time he knocked out anybody was 3 fights ago when he beat Pulev. He knocked him out. Then prior to that, he had in between the losses, of course, of Andy Ruiz, that lost with Andy Ruiz, he had 7 fights won by technical knockout. Now, technical knockout means that the guys quit, or he hurt him, they counted out, or whatever. But he's never really slept a person. And that's the part that concerns me, because you have to harken back all the way to Charles Martin for him to actually knock out a person. So for the most part, he's just overwhelmed the people. They've stopped the fight. They throw in the towel, whatnot. But we have to go back basically 7 fights prior to his Pulev one, Murat Pulev, to have him sleep a person. Now, why does that concern me? Because Tyson Fury got dropped, what, twice? Against Wilder, and he didn't sleep him. He got up. Wilder, he's never been slept. He's been stopped by TKO. Never like.
No, he got slept, bro. He got slept in the third fight.
Yeah. So see, yeah. So he needs that. See, if we cross-reference those things, he needs to be able to knock a person out. And I think Deontay Wilder does have it in him to get knocked out, because it's happened. But Luke Fury is not the guy to be slept at the hands of Joshua.
What this shows actually is Wilder is willing to die in the ring, because you have to sleep him, because he'll get up after getting knocked down. Joshua will take a knee. Wilder don't take a knee. You have to put his ass down. And that's why Joshua has been reluctant to make this fight happen for all these years. He never wanted to fight Wilder. There was an interview way back on IFL TV, right? And I think he was like, I don't know if he was like in a coffee shop, but in the background, it looked like there was a lot of video games and CDs and display. And Coogan was asking him questions about the Wilder fight and stuff like that. And Anthony Joshua said essentially the same thing that Errol Spence said. It's like, bro, why would I fight Wilder? Like, I'm going to wait to him to get old. Like, I have time in my hands. I only have like 18, 20 fights, because that's when he was a champion, when he beat Charles Martin. So they've been calling for this fight, And then everybody wants to be like, oh, Eddie's, they sent out a term sheet. It wasn't serious. There was $50 million on an email. Look, bro, Joshua has never wanted to fight Wilder. Never wanted to fight him. Again, he's nothing but a businessman. And he's a great fighter. I'm not saying what he's done in his career is not fantastic. No, bro. The fight versus Joseph Parker is great. Andy Ruiz, Usyk. Like, he's doing a great job of creating a great resume. But we know the dudes at heavyweight. We know Joshua is one of the pillars of the heavyweight division. But we know the dudes to be Wilder and Fury. Klitschko was, but he was retired from 2 years. They brought him out of retirement to build up and have that passing of the torch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eddie,
but the funny thing is that Wilder had the ability, the opportunity first before Anthony Joshua
he
beat a
did.
passing the torch,
And
and he wanted to
and
go
he
the business
probably
route.
wishes he took that fight back
Yeah.
then.
You mean with Klitschko?
Absolutely.
yeah,
Well, remember he ducked that fight. He
Yep.
for the longest part, his own promoter said he's that he was.
You'll
What did
lose.
he say? No. He didn't say that he would lose. He said
He was a baby. He said he was a
Baby.
baby. He's still young in his career.
exactly, hit baby, and
Another
he
way of
decided
saying you'll
to not
lose.
fight.
Him. That just means his managers, like Shelly Finkel, they didn't want that fight for him.
Yeah, so it's all business. They
So
just
that's
want to be
different.
able to make money.
Wilder never said that.
But he-
Joshua
but bro,
did say that in regards to Wilder. So there's
But
a
look,
difference when the fighter says that.
I
don't
understand
believe
there's a
Wilder would ever
difference.
do that because Wilder had actually sparred Klitschko.
Yeah, but there's
Emmanuel
definitely a
Augustus-
difference.
Sorry.
I understand that. I do value the distinction made between a fighter saying the things himself and then his promoters or his managers moving him in a way that's similar to how he's speaking. In fact, silence is also lack of it's also as loud as speaking, because maybe Anthony Joshua did say that, but Wilder moved like that because Anthony Joshua actually fought Wilder. Klitschko. So Anthony Joshua, he took on way harder names than Wilder has. So he doesn't. He could speak however he wants. He's fighting different.
I cannot say yes to that. I'm not gonna concede to that statement that he's taking harder fights. No, I don't think so. Because
I
I
don't
think,
think so.
those 3 fights with Tyson Fury and King Kong Ortiz are tougher than what Joshua.
Yeah. So recently, yes. That's I those are very recently, yes. But as they were coming up, you just have to give it to Anthony Joshua. Now, what does that do with again going back to the Seki thing? He finally got a knockout. Do you think that stimulates some confidence in him to thereby come aggressively and bring out that natural animalistic instincts that a heavyweight is supposed to have? Because if he's trying to be a boxer, not being the best boxer, not being Usyk, or nor having even any semblance to the skill set of Usyk, then he's done for.
See, that's his problem right there, though. To answer your question first, does it instill confidence?
Yeah.
It shouldn't. I mean, I guarantee you, it feels good, like you said. He's supposed to knock out Jermaine Franklin, right? But he couldn't even knock him out. In fact, he couldn't even get around Jermaine Franklin's jab.
Yeah, he was struggling, bro.
Robert Helenius, cool, bro. That's a great knockout. Way to get the knockout. But Wilder done it in 1 round, and all it took was 1 right hand.
Yeah.
No, you had
it's his sparring partner
one
also.
right hand too, but it took you 7 rounds, and you fucking danced around getting the rounds in. Like, bro, this is a heavyweight division. You don't want to get hit by a jab at any time.
And sometimes you don't.
300-pound men. So
sometimes you don't take rounds to figure out your fighter. Sometimes you're just knocking them out. While like
Well, I don't give
you don't get paid for overtime. So
yeah, I don't give Wilder too much
I would be
credit.
surprised if Joshua fights Philip Hrgovic, if he were to knock out Zane or knock out Philip Hrgovic, or then I'd be like, yeah, walk around like you're the fucking king of the man of this town. But the reality is, Joshua didn't even want to answer the question. He tried to make a joke. Oh man, my back hurts.
Oh yeah,
for carrying this heavyweight division.
Yeah,
like,
that was cool. That was a good joke. Hey, that was a good joke, bro.
Like so.
No, I know he's not carrying the heavyweight division,
corny, bro.
I know, but it was funny
because he didn't want to answer no questions about Wilder. I'm sure he's frustrated for like the past 10 years. Always had him like Wilder. But guess what?
Yeah.
If you fought the motherfucker and you beat him, guess what? No one talks about Wilder versus Fury anymore because it already happened 3 times.
That was slick.
Do your fucking job. Stop trying to pimp out the system because you already got all the money in the world. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. How do you walk away?
Years old, had an autopsy report. His brain is fucking concaved in. Got knocked out 3 times or 6 times, I don't know, in those trilogy versus Fury. He's a 42-year-old man. Go fight him when you're only 32.
So
Yeah.
that's another thing. That's another thing. That's another thing that we have to consider, right? So a lot of these fighters, and even fans of fighters, they value that. Oh, they somehow think that being unbeaten to date means everything. But now that Anthony Joshua has a couple of losses, 3 losses under his belt, why would he not fight with more abandon?
Yeah, why
Why
does he
would
care about it?
Yeah,
About
yeah, yeah.
that? You should care about putting names on his resume.
Yeah, and here's the thing. He, like he said, he's already amassed wealth. He's had a few losses, and he
Mhm.
still has an opportunity to. Although he has losses and is holding no belts, he has an opportunity to make incredible, incredible dollars by the Saudi Arabians. Why would we? Why would we think Wilder's not next? Do we
Right.
see him really
It's too
passing
much
by this
money. Too much
opportunity?
money. I was
Yeah,
saying too much
yeah.
money on the line. They're talking about that being the co-main to a
Usyk versus Fury.
yeah. And I forget
Fury is
the
not going to
total
be in it,
amount that they
guys.
offered. I forgot the total amount that they offered, but I think it was
150 million.
yeah,
No, I don't know.
150.
I don't even know, but I heard
No,
something
dude,
like that.
it was over like 100 mil for sure. But they
But
were
guys, do you
huge
really
fight.
believe? Do you really believe those 4 guys would
Are gonna turn it down. No, yeah.
Fury?
I think they said 500 million or something like that. I'm
Yeah,
not even
that's the pot apparently.
300 or 500 million for those 4 guys,
Yep. No,
solely for those guys. I was like, wow, if dude,
but
you
guys,
can't turn that down. I would take that. I'd take that KO to the chin, bro, like all day.
right?
Yeah. Put
But
that,
Fury actually has to fight Ngannou, and that's like when
oh,
October? Wait, is that in October?
yeah. Like
Okay,
honestly,
It's not gonna happen in December. Like
they said
January they said.
January.
they're not
They
gonna
said
do that.
January.
Yeah,
They
so
said
Yeah.
January.
maybe January. I can see that, but nah, bro. Like I don't know, bro. I don't trust Joshua. I don't believe him. I don't trust and believe Fury. I do trust Wilder and I do trust Usyk. In fact, if I'm Usyk and I'm Wilder, I'm trying to fight one another. Like, bro, those guys are clowns. That dude's ducking you, which is why he fought Francis Ngannou, who took a business decision. Because if he knows if he loses to Usyk, he don't got that Ngannou fight. So he's just
Yeah.
looking to, pimp out the system and get all this money. Look, and that's all fair and dandy, bro. Like the sport is hard. You don't play boxing like you got it,
Mhm.
But we're paying customers, we don't want to like get pimped out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, it's like if I'm Usyk and Wilder, I'm be like, you know what, bro? Let's go get that Saudi Arabia money and let's deliver that fucking fight. And then
Yeah.
eventually, when we do the numbers, watch Fury and Joshua come beg us for that fucking fight. Or even Andy Ruiz. Like at the end of the day, bro, it's like these dudes they're messing up, bro. They're messing up. And that's just at the end of the day, that's not really what you can say, bro.
Well, guys, another thing that we have to consider is if Anthony Joshua, after probably getting his psyche stimulated with a knockout victory, which has to fucking just like as devastating it was, and handicapping it was. I mean, for him to lose to Andy Ruiz and Usyk, and taking on 2 trainers in a short period of time, and basically becoming a different type of fighter, one that's less exciting for the fans. One thing we have to consider is this: now that he has a knockout victory, that probably instills some confidence in him. Now, I would imagine that he's much more prepared to take on any fighter for whatever money as a cash out fight, maybe, and especially one where he can at least have a bit of positive momentum in him, than to say Wilder. If you look at Wilder's record, guys, in the past 3 years, he's fought twice, right? He lost to Fury, took a whole year off, fought Hellenius, lasted 2 rounds with Hellenius, which, by the way, is his sparring partner. So I don't give him much credit for Robert Hellenius, because Robert Hellenius is his sparring partner. he knows how they fight. He's probably been handed beat down by Wilder so many times before. So I don't give him any credit. So he fights that guy a year ago, and come October, it'll be exactly a year from that Robert Helenius fight. He does not have any fights penciled in, and if the very first round of this four-fighter tournament happens in January, that would be October, November, December, January, a year and 3 months. How much what odds do you give a 40-something-year-old man who's had 3 fights in the past 3 years, if he decides to even fight somebody the likes of Joshua, Fury, Usyk, or Joe Joyce, or Zhilei Zhang?
Well, listen. First and foremost, I'm gonna go back to one of your statements that you said, and you said, "Oh, that's Wilder's sparring partner, Helenius, so I don't give him that much credit." Let me remind you, bro. All right, that Johnny Gonzalez was Abner Mares' sparring partner when Abner Mares was undefeated. What did Johnny Gonzalez do? He knocked him out.
Mm-hmm.
A big ass underdog knocked out Abner Mares. Okay, we just saw Victor Postal at age 49 or 39 or 40 years old fight Edwin Rodriguez. They're both with Freddie Roach. No, I don't know if it's Edwin Rodriguez, but it's one of this like Dominican fighters. He's really good, and both of them, as you saw, Victor was actually doing really well, and the other kid dropped him and essentially knocked him out. The fight was stopped.
Oh, you're talking about Russell?
Nah, not Russell. That was Victor Postal just fought like a month ago.
Elvis Rodriguez.
There you go. Elvis Rodriguez. They were sparring partners. So just because they're sparring partners and they bring them into camp doesn't mean that favorite fighter and what we perceive. As you saw, even though it lasted a round or two, Robert Helenius was the one pushing Wilder back. He got a little overzealous. Just threw that right hand. Okay, but we know like Helenius been exposed. Like he fights very tall and he leaves his chin up in the air. As you saw, that wasn't even Wilder's best right hand. He just threw it straight and clocked him right in the kisser, and the dude fell. So when people say, "Oh, he's just a sparring partner," that does not mean nothing. When you bring in a sparring partner, okay, that means he has a certain style, mentality, or maybe a certain, I don't know, but you bringing him to give you work.
Yeah.
Very rare, though it does happen, that camps bring in, guys to get knocked out to make their champion and boost up their ego. It does happen, but very rarely. You want competitive and tough sparring, which is why fighters relocate to Las Vegas or they travel all over the States to get proper sparring, because they don't just want your fighter to knock these fighters out. They want tough quality competition.
Yeah, but let me hit you with the flip side. Let me hit you with the flip side.
For instance, Klitschko sparred, Wilder, and they brought in Tyson Fury. And Emmanuel Stewart said these two dudes are going to be the ones running the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
So,
but that is my
the best out of Wilder during that time. Doesn't mean had they ever fought, Wilder would have knocked his block off. It just happens. Now, I want to, because we got a little bit of limited time, because Drew said he was going to hit the showers. Mr. Larry Liston, good evening to you, brother. It says, it is known within certain circles that Shakur ducked Navarette lower weights. Now, whether he would beat Navarette now after moving up, I do not know. But I know this. If Navarette was American, he would be number 7 or 8 on ESPN's pound-for-pound list. 3-division champion, better resume than both Haney, Shakur, and Tank. I don't know, Mr. Larry List. I'm a little controversial, but I like it. Paulie Malignaggi said he doesn't want to see AJ versus Wilder because Wilder's KO him easily. He would rather see Ruiz versus Wilder, which I agree with. AJ looked mediocre against an up and out of shape Helenius. By the way, shout out to Gabriel Maestre, another Colombian fighter who got the upset on Showtime against a young American prospect. Yeah, Travon Marshall or something like that. I love that type of sink and swim match.
Yeah.
Stop protecting prospects.
Yeah, I was mentioning that earlier. El Capitan, he's a two-time Olympian.
Who's el capitán? Gabriel Maestri?
Yeah, yeah,
Maestre.
yeah. I was watching that on the Showtime card, and I was like, wow, this guy really putting it on him. He wobbled him, and this guy was actually the ref was actually letting him fight, and a couple seconds he just kept taking hooks to the face, bro, and actually ended up stopping the fight. But he really did put his face in the dirt, bro. Like the way he put him down, like he was like face first type of thing. You know, I was like, wow, this guy's pretty good. Hard hitter too.
Hold on, Drew. I think Navarette overall probably does have a better resume than Shakur and Tank. I don't know about Haney. I like Haney's wins against Linares and Jojo Diaz. And, you know, if you want to be like, well, he didn't beat Lomachenko, that's why I didn't really include that. But at least he still fought him. And Loma's got the skills. And then now Haney fighting Regis. But it's pretty close because I give Navarette a lot of credit for the fighters in which he has fought. Ruben Villa is like a poor man's version of Lomachenko, and he's right under Shakur, right? This is why they fought each other like 4 or 5 times in the amateurs, and they basically split it a piece. So Ruben can do what Shakur can do, and Navarette knocked him down. I for sure think he's got a better resume than Shakur and Tank, for sure. It's because Dogbo victories and all those are not easy to come by, and he did it with flying colors. I would agree that he would be on the 7 or 8 pound for pound list for sure.
Yeah, so good evening to you, Mr. Larry Liston. Hope you're having a wonderful day. So the flip side to that thing that you were saying about sparring partners, right? It really depends on how you fare with them. Sparring partners is this. Robert Helenius, what up? Robert Helenius was Wilder's sparring partner, and he fought him. But you guys also have heard the rumors about Wilder having sparred Klitschko, and he never fought him. We also know that the Charlo brothers would spar Lara, and after they split, they went different directions. Never fought him. So what I'm trying to say is, you can fight who you want to fight, but if you know that you're not getting the better end of the fight, you're not gonna want to fight that guy. And that's the reason why you have to condition somebody like Robert Helenius as a victory from Deontay Wilder, because if sparring doesn't matter and you're working on things, then he should have fought Klitschko when he had an opportunity. Now, as far as what Paulie Malignaggi said, look, I do agree with that also, Mr. Larry Liston, and in fact with Paulie Malignaggi, I would rather see Ruiz versus Wilder, but I don't mind if AJ fights Wilder, even with the knockout, because what matters is that you fight everybody, regardless of what the odds are. If you're in a position to fight the guy for money and rank, you take it. Now, I do believe that you have to sometimes take certain fights or skip others at some moment in your career if you think you're not prepared for them, because you also don't want to just throw yourself into the lion's den without a shield and sword. So if you know your corner doesn't believe you're ready for it, there's obviously the way you can move a fighter correctly. But these aren't prospects; these are fighters. These guys are already well-established career fighters making good money. They should fight each other. I don't care how you get there, but if Wilder is set up against AJ to take on the fight, go for it. But of course, a more exciting fight would probably be Ruiz versus. Well, both of them are flawed actually, so that would make for something explosive.
Whoa. Time. Listen.
Whoa. What I say every time I say something, man.
Listen. Hey, every time you say listen.
Every time.
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 Listen, I don't agree with Paulie Malignaggi because a couple things. One, who doesn't like KOs? Two, and even
that's what I said.
Even if the KOs do happen, bro, AJ is a 6'5", 6'6", Greek guy.
Don't say Adonis. You always say Adonis.
Listen,
oh my God.
This is a fighting man. He's got a fighting chance. And if you tell me, when he was younger, he's 5-6 years younger than Wilder. He ain't been knocked out like Wilder has. Okay,
Yeah.
Andre's got a standing chance. Like he can win, bro. So that's the thing. It's kind of like
Yeah.
everyone thinks that Wilder is gonna knock him out, but we could be completely wrong.
Wilder's gonna be
course.
the favorite.
And this
Look
is
at Karen Shukshirstian.
remember, this is heavyweight boxing. All it takes is one punch.
Mm-hmm.
Now everyone's thinking it's gonna be the right hand from Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be the right hand or left hook from Joshua.
Yeah.
So again,
This,
I-
the- it's
I-
the-
I
that's
can't
the
accept that.
that's
we need to see it now more than
Yep.
likely,
Exactly. That was my
Wilder
point.
might happen, but I'm not just gonna give Wilder the benefit of the doubt. I don't think Wilder can beat all these dudes. You know what I'm saying? He didn't beat Fury,
mhm.
and mind you, Fury was retired for like a year and a half. That's like 400 pounds, obese.
yeah, man. These
Who's
heavyweight
to say that
fights.
Joshua can't do the same? Who's to say Andy Ruiz can't beat Wilder? I'm not just gonna give Wilder the benefit of the doubt that he can beat
Yeah.
all these dudes.
You-
I
you
think
just-
he absolutely can knock them all out, but I need to see it, bro.
Yeah, man. That's why you just never know.
And that's why we need to see it. And with these heavyweight fights, bro, like I was watching a Philip Hergovich versus Dempsey McKeon.
Yeah.
That one, okay. Dempsey was actually doing this thing against Hergovich, bro.
He was good.
Yeah, he
It
was
was
winning
good.
he was winning some rounds on him, bro.
And
And
that's the thing. Philip Hergovic, he was hitting a lot of the times on Dempsey McKean in the back of the head, at least like 12 times that I saw
Yeah.
throughout the whole fight. And the ref kind of looked at him, probably gave him a little warning, but bro, all it takes is one hit behind the head and you get Pritchard Cologne. Bro,
Mhm.
he was doing it excessively. No points deducted, bro, not even a disqualification.
Yeah.
That shit was dirty as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he was
So
winning every round up until they stopped the fight. And it was kind of an early stoppage. I think they should have let that thing go to card.
Nah. That dude was like doing the stinky leg from one corner to the other.
But that was like the first time in the fight, and that was the last minute or the last round in the fight, dude.
wow.
But
Yeah.
nah, I like that stoppage, bro. I like
Yeah. So yeah, no, again, going back to that idea, no, I don't care how you get there. I don't care if we imagine somebody's going to win quite easily. We as fans have been disproven time and time again. We actually thought we had a 50-50 fight with Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. Look what happened. We actually thought we had a 50-50 fight between Valdez and Naverette. Look what happened. We have to have these fights happen regardless of what our imagination allows us to think, because we have been proven wrong time and time again. And remember, the one thing that I love about the sport in particular is the puncher's chance. That's the one thing you never take away from the sport. That's the only truism, that irrespective of styles making fight or, triangulation theories out the window, whatever, every fighter that believes in himself and has a limb to throw, he can throw that limb, land it at the right moment, and win. And this is why we have to watch fights, not because we think, oh no, this guy, that guy. Because listen, we just had Wilder knock out his sparring partner, which I'm not giving him too much credit for, but he's only fought two times in almost 3 years, like 3 fights in 3 years. Guess what? Who has a similar career most recently? Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz fought in 2019.
Errol Spence.
No, and then he skipped 2 years, came in 2021. And last year, 2022 in September, fought. It's going to be another year of Andy Ruiz. What can we expect from a fighter like Andy Ruiz, who we already know he's been going through a lot of familial problems with his divorce and all the controversies with the TikTok and all, eating burritos while walking on the treadmill. A fighter that at his highest moment, he was a last minute replacement to one of the biggest heavyweight stars at the moment, and got a upset of the decade fight. And then after that, he amounted to a guy who sucked down 30 or 40 pounds, looked like a little guy, still looked shop worn, then blew up in weight again and still looked shop worn, even though he came out victorious in those fights, but he's been very inactive.
What are you talking about? Look, Chris Arreola is a good fighter. Even Wilder couldn't knock him out.
But Chris Arreola is 40.
Face on his fist on his face.
Chris Arreola is 40 though.
And that was
Chris Arreola was 40, and he fought him better. And in fact, didn't Andy Ruiz almost lose that fight?
Yeah, it don't matter if it was still fun and competitive.
I know. Okay, no, I understand. I'm just saying. What I'm saying is anything is possible.
And straights from King Kong Ortiz, and he didn't get dropped not even once. So listen to me, bro. Listen. I need to see Wilder versus Andy Ruiz before the end of the year. I need to see Joshua just fight again, and I need to see AJ versus Usyk versus Fury. I mean, I want them to fight one another, but I just need them. I need them to be active, bro. At
this point, any of them fight each other.
You know what, Mr. Larry Liston. Mr. Larry Liston says, from what I heard about Helenius and his team, he's basically only been doing weight training for the last 6 months since the Wilder loss. He used to be one of the most dangerous upcoming fighters. Yeah, that is true. There was a moment that he was highly regarded as a prospect, but it just never panned out. But that's fine. We can find value in any fighter as long as they can throw fists and step up to anybody. That's great. He's done that, so that's good. And he continues on and says, I thought that Helenius versus Wilder fight looked very suspicious. Now we'll talk about why that looks suspicious. So I was expecting something fishy here as well, but I gotta say it was 100% legit fight. Helenius isn't that good. Now, if you guys want to address Mr. Liston's comments that Helenius versus Wilder looked suspicious, we can do that, because another one of Wilder's fights that looked suspicious was the fight that he had with his now trainer Malik Scott. Now, I'm not too sure if you gentlemen watched that Malik Scott interview with David Diamante, because David Diamante has talked. Okay, so he interviewed Malik Scott. Malik Scott is he's very smart. He's an intellectual. He's an intellectual of the sport. He said some crazy stuff about Wilder being all this and all that, but otherwise everything he said was sound and funded on reasonable opinions. But he said, because David Diamante brought up the fact that it looks suspicious that he couldn't get himself up from a weak punch from, and he actually admitted, he said it didn't land. And this is what he said. He goes, people think that the punch that dropped me was the one that didn't land. He goes, I put my dukes up. He almost punched in between, almost landed in my forehead. But that's what people think knocked me down. He goes, they forget the punch before that. He threw a left hook, hit me to my temple. And he said, if you know anything about me, the fights that I've lost to, they've always been temple shots. I can't recover. And he went on and said, I got knocked down by this guy and that guy. He hit me to the temple. Next you know, I'm blacked out, and I look up and all I see is the ref just counting. And I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, the same thing happened with Deontay Wilder. People think it was the two that he threw that graced me, and that's supposed to have knocked me down. He goes, no, people didn't look at the left hook. And he says, Deontay Wilder has incredible power. And before I knew it, I was on the floor. So look, we thought that there was, and to tell you the truth, I always thought there was something fishy about that. But then I completely forgot he did land a shot to the temple. So I wanted to see if Mr. Larry Liston could bring up what he found to be suspicious about the Helenius versus Wilder fight. I just think it was a win that he was going to get regardless, because he's used to fighting that guy. I
think yesterday he proved that it wasn't a fluke, because he got knocked out just like with AJ, you know.
But this was a big punch though.
He just doesn't have a chin.
Larry Liston's second statement though, he goes, I thought it looked suspicious as well. But I gotta say it was 100% legit fight. Helenius just isn't that good. So he answered what you were stating.
But that's because Anthony Joshua proved that there was nothing suspicious of Deontay Wilder knocking out his stablemate. But Anthony Joshua did his thing. I'm trying to recall because again, remember, guys, I don't have a good memory. What was suspicious about Helena's dropping with Wilder?
No, nothing. I mean, if Hellenius really felt like that, I mean,
Yeah.
on purpose, then he's a really good stunt double. He needs to get hired. By
Man, that boy dropped so funny. Did you see how he
Hollywood, bro?
He
But-
toppled over?
Yeah, man, his head bounced off the floor. I mean, you're a really good stunt double if that's the case.
Oh, see, okay, Mr. Listen, great. Thank you very much for answering my question because one thing I do say about everything, and I'm sure you've heard it before, Mr. Listen, I forget so many things, especially about boxing. Even though I promise you, I watch about 90% of all fights. I just can't remember names, records, history, whatnot. But he does bring up this, and it helps rekindle my memory. Helenis versus Wilder was an arm punch. He didn't properly extend on the shot, and Wilder's back was turned against the ropes. What it meant with arm punch is that he didn't get his entire body into the shot. So that is fishy. But if what we've heard about Wilder is true, apparently he has deceiving power. Like so many people have said that, except for Luke Furry.
Then I'm gonna wrap it up. You got like 5.
You got 5 more minutes, you said?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's it for me, bro. I think I'm gonna go and take a shower right now and call it a day, bro. So, yeah, man. I'm out of here, bro.
He took a lot of Mr. Larry Liston goes on and says he took a lot of harder shots in the AJ fight prior to him getting knocked out. I could be wrong, but if you look at the shots he was taking from AJ prior to the knockout, those were harder. Yeah, it must be that Wilder has this incredible, punching power, and Anthony Joshua doesn't, or maybe not as equivalent. But we did talk about the fact, Mr. Liston, that Anthony Joshua has not slept a person for about 8 fights. The last one being Murad Pulev about 4 or 5 fights ago, and then prior to that 7 fights, going back all the way to Charles Martin. But he has never really been the type of person that just sleeps his opponent with one punch. He has gotten a lot of TKOs and things of that sort, but just not a one punch hitter and quitter. But Wilder, that's his forte, his hit and quit. He probably has a lot of power behind him. But yeah, there's this is a very fishy sport and a corrupt one too, Mr. Listen. So I won't discount that there was something nefarious in some of the fights that Wilder has had. Yeah. So the homie Ricky, I'm not too sure if you've muted yourself because you're doing something busy. I know you were about to wrap up this live. It's always fun. I always appreciate the invite. Thank you very much for having dealt with me when I was at the park throwing the ball to my son and daughter. Just doing family things. But I made sure that I had a little bit of time to talk to some of you learned gentlemen. And of course, we had Mr. Larry Liston always stimulating conversations and points of view, great topics that he brings about. EDG, although maybe he thought that we were being biased and dismissive of some fighters, we weren't trying to do that, man. So I'm not too sure why you would just start off a conversation by calling an individual that you know nothing about clown. But anyways,
he had the title and he was like, "Oh man, these guys were fucking casuals." And it's all right.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I would never call a stranger a fucking clown for having an opinion.
That's what I'm saying, bro. In real life, he wouldn't talk like that. You just
Exactly. And it's funny because he's thinking that we're speaking bad about black fight. I'm not even gonna talk about that.
I need to know about him. He goes, Nova knocked out Navarette with a body shot. Tell me where Shakur got knocked out and can compare opponents since you know so much. Listen, that Navarette is a different Navarette. So this dude is just like, bro, he ain't no boxing fan, bro.
No, of course he admitted he admitted he wasn't.
Was casting aspersions, saying that we're biased, and and we not siding with the black fighter because we're Mexican. That's what he came out. That's all I need to know about his insecurities. Like, he didn't even listen to anything, bro. That's why when you got on his case, I'm like, bro, just let him ramble. That dude don't know nothing. But anyway,
Yeah, no, we aren't biased off of color and everything. We're just boxing fans, and hopefully our words and our actions display that. But we won't bring up a person's race.
Listen, who cares about all that? I don't even care about addressing that shit. I don't care. Good night.
Go to sleep. Why don't you go to sleep, man?
Trying to. Good night.
All right. Good night. Good night, Mr. Listen.
Later, Mr. Larry. Listen, thanks for tuning in, brother. Always.